think that kicked things into gear.
We are live.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Expert classes. Let's open expert classes.
Expert.
Experticos. Download the PDF.
My dad likes to say that an expert, if broken up into its base parts, is an X, which is a has-been, and a pert, which is a dip under pressure. So it's quite really nothing.
Dip under pressure. Fair enough. Right, let's have a listen to this.
Unearthed Arcana 2022 Expert Classes. This document is the second in a series of Unearthed Arcana articles that present material designed for the next version of the Player's Handbook. The material here uses the rules in the 2014 Player's
Well, so
Handbook.
far it sounds a lot better than it did before, and I am listening through the delayed response.
I think
Oh
it
dear, I
sounds
think
good
something
too.
here just completely went weird. But anyway, so I think the audio test is going better. Just gonna speak nice and loud and clear and not speak directly into the freaking mic and just right in front of it and go from there.
Alrighty.
But yes, it's SA Internet. It seems we do have some compression here and there. So
Yeah. We've got compression everywhere. We've got compression in our infrastructure.
compression everywhere.
Compression in our
Well, let's. Oh dear, what's
yeah.
this now? There we go.
Compression where we don't need it, and inflation where we don't need it.
Sorry, I got a second audio channel there from nowhere.
Oh, no worries.
Where did this second audio channel come from? Good lord. Okay, anyway, doesn't really matter. We are good to go.
Good. Then.
Right, so just quickly pop a message over to everywhere it needs it, so that. Okay, so I'm off the delay. You don't have to worry. I was listening to you on the delay for a second. And I almost forgot about that. That would have been very awkward.
Yes, I would have not liked to have your responses come like 5 seconds later.
I just restarted my computer, so I just need to quickly fix this fan speed. There we go. Congratulations, everyone. You're going to see my sanity load. There we go. It's load successful. Awesome. Okay. Closing. Come on. Okay. Let's let the people know we're streaming.
Sê vir die mense. Dat hulle weet.
Oopsie. D&D ONE rules.
1 is the loneliest number. 1 can be even lonelier than 2. Or however the lyrics go.
Let's quickly post this here. Join at Arcanus.
It's 2 can be as bad as 1. It's the loneliest number since the number 1. No is the saddest experience you'll ever know. But I don't want to get copyright strikes, so.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. I doubt anybody cares at this point. Right. So.
Not with how badly I'm seeing it.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. Uh,
You don't hold no punches or nothing.
Look, I've been walking in the sun all day, so I might not be in my right mind.
There's
Let's
a
see.
right mind.
There's a wrong mind, definitely.
mm.
Um, wait, bloody hell! Moderate there, and test ready to go. Right. Yeah, we're only one or two viewers. There. Arcanist. The one on my phone is now disabled, which is to be expected. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, so okay, where were we? So I'm gonna sort of just jump into one D&D for a second. So, I mean, spoilers. You told me a little bit about it, and we did have a bit of a back and forth about this, like at midnight today. Oh, great! The screen is doing that thing again. I'll quickly get rid of that. Apologies. There we go. So, with One D&D has now published its next playtest material, which is Unearthed Arcana 2022, and it's just called Expert Classes. So, from what I can understand, putting it very simply, these are three of the new classes. So these are the bards, the rangers, and the rogues. But
Yes.
like with the last rules, I'm quite excited for the end of the page where we go into like core rules again, where they have to codify some core rules to make the rule decisions and stuff that they discussed in the classes make sense. So something I already saw, which I um, uh, two things I already saw that I really like is search as a clear and detailed action, and study as a clear and detailed action. Now, obviously, there's very little information here. I doubt it'll get the depth I'm looking for, but nonetheless, it'll be fun to talk about. Anything
But
you're interested?
that is skipping to the end of the document in the rules glossary, which does bring up an interesting fact. I watched the interview with Jeremy Crawford about
Yeah,
this UA release, and I don't know if they mentioned it somewhere in the document because I also haven't studied it in depth. But apparently, each time they release a rules glossary, any terminology and rules they clarify in the rules glossary supersedes the rules glossary of any previous UA they released for 1D&D. So
that
each
makes
time they
sense.
release a UA, the rules glossary at the end, um, it, the updated information there is the new information you must work with whenever you want to play test the UA material.
And then obviously, if something isn't mentioned in the next UI and UA, then the previous UA still stands.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of the idea being that you're building consecutively on the new system.
Yes. But yo, I was very impressed when I watched the video. Something like over 40,000 responses on the feedback for the previous UA.
Well, that's encouraging. I mean, that's
It's
kind of the
very
point of this.
encouraging. Yes. But I went over this and I'm actually really excited for the new classes and the new class concepts with the grouping of classes. But I actually want to focus on this little gray section here, right at the right
Okay,
at the
well, let's
start.
let's just jump into this because I haven't read this. So let me go through it, and then you can jump in. So this document is second in a series of unearthed arcana articles that present material designed for the next version of Player's Handbook. Um, the material here used the rules in 2014 Player Handbook, except where noted. Okay, so first off, they talk about expert classes. Three classes appear in this document, each one a member of the expert group: the Bard, Ranger, and the Rogue. Each class appears with one subclass. More subclasses will appear in Earth Arcana in the months ahead, probably after they've released the other groups. I'm guessing. Anyway, feats. There's no feats there. Feats allow follow the class descriptions. Spell list. There's three spell lists. There's arcane, divine, and primal. Interesting.
Mm.
Then there's a rule glossary, which I'm so excited for. And then there is just this is playtest material, obviously. How to playtest
Mm-hmm.
this material. Basically, you try it out and you fill in a form. Nothing weird there. What's this about Candlekeep? To play with this material, you may either incorporate it into your campaign or run one of the more special playtest sessions. For such a session, you can create an adventure or adventure of your own, or use the short adventure from the sources like, oh, it's just an example. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically just run a short adventure. Um, Power level. Interesting. The character options are read here might be more or less powerful than options in 2014 handbook. Okay. Um, if a design survives playtesting, we adjust its power to the desirable level before publication in a book. This means an option could be more or less powerful in its final form. Okay, then we get to feedback.
Mm.
What's ahead in the D&D playtest?
Yes, that's I'm really excited for. I quickly read that just now,
Hmm?
and there were some interesting things there. Um, we may have many things in store for you to read and try out in the months ahead. Here are some of the highlights: a revised version of every class from the 2014 Player's Handbook, 48 subclasses, including the subclasses in this article, new and revised spells, new and revised feats, new weapon options for certain classes, and then a new system for creating a home base for your characters. Very interesting. And then
Creating a
revised
home base.
encounter building rules and new and revised monsters, which I'm also very excited for, and I'll come back to why. Um, but anyways, as the playtest progresses, you will also see new versions of some things that you provided feedback on earlier in the playtest, and that is something that I was very pleased to hear in the interview with Jeremy Crawford. Is that they plan to re-release like UAs based on feedback so that they can get more feedback to genuinely try and build systems with the community. And I'm really excited for that.
Makes sense. Okay, well that's just encouraging to see. I
Mm.
understand why you're so excited for it. If we go up here, so parts of parts of a class. So each class contains a rule. The rules elements described below. Now we don't. Just a quick note. We're not going to read everything here. There are 37
Mm.
pages, so I don't
Mm.
really want to spend the entire evening just reading that. But a quick note here is that primal ability. That's something I'm not fully sure what.
Primary.
Oh, primary. I can't read. Um, that's the primary ability score, correct?
The primary ability of a class is critical to some of the class's features. So when you create your character, that ability is a great place to put one of your highest scores. Yes, it
Okay,
is
so
the
nothing new there.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then they just actually give us some extra information because this document is about the expert classes, but they actually
Mm.
need to then define the classes. And this is the first part which I'm excited for, and I've been sleeping on it a little bit.
Mm.
I like this, but I can't tell you why.
I kind of can. I think I can identify what you might like about it. Something I noticed when I did a quick skim through. Beyond grouping the classes into class groups and then creating universal rules for those groups, such as creating feats that you go and say, oh, this feat can be taken by anyone who's in the class, in the experts group, or this feat can be taken anyone who's in the majors group. I can see some design choices
Mm,
that they're making which they are applying to the groups as a whole. For example, all the experts are getting the expertise feature in their level progression, which means that they can take expertise in certain proficiencies. And this is essentially if you strip away the uniqueness of each of the classes, you can see certain moments where the classes are identical in the experts group. Um, which harkens to 3.5 and 4th edition a little bit, where all the classes, no matter what class you take, I'm actually specifically thinking about Starfinder. I don't have as much experience with 3.5, but for example, Starfinder has the level progression where
mm,
everyone gets feats at certain levels despite whatever class you have, and ASI is at certain levels no matter
Yeah.
what class you have. And so I like that concept of no matter what you are, you have this progression table, and then essentially these unique features slot in on that progression table.
Yeah, I mean, to again, I like it, and look, I like it, but I think that I've got a little bit of trepidation on my side because
Mm.
this is how fourth edition worked.
It
Again,
is, or at least, well, our community mentioned, someone in our community mentioned that that's how fourth edition worked. Now,
mm,
I have very little experience with fourth edition, but from what I can tell, despite it being a resemblance to fourth edition system of like progression type being, the same across everyone, and then things slot in, that despite that there is going to be distinctions between the classes, which I could definitely already pick up on, as well as the fact that it isn't like it's a universal progression table. Starfinder's level progression, like that,
it's
when you
basically
get
just for
feats.
for XP feats and ASI. That's it.
Yeah, but true. If for in Starfinder it is, but that's universal for all the classes.
Yeah, exactly.
This has certain like expertise moments, but
Mm.
only for the experts, and then it'll probably have certain
Yeah,
mage
okay.
moments, but only for the
Mm.
mages.
No, that makes
Um,
sense. That's
so
that's
that's
a
kind
little
of
bit more
cool.
unique. I see here that the artificer is also an expert, and they're just not covering the details here yet.
Yeah, they just mention it for if you need to categorize the artificer when you're playtesting.
I've heard when at Comic Con recently, one DM I spoke to, or one player I spoke to said was on about getting this magic item for her ranger that does this and it was a lot of work, and then she finally got the quiver that doesn't run out of arrows. It's like, why
Yeah.
don't you just have an artificer in your group?
Hmm.
And apparently it's like, no, we've got a no artificer rule.
Oh.
We're not the only group that has realized that they can be overpowered. But to be fair, defending the class, the player did turn around and sack it, but the guy who played the artificer on their table was a bit of a douche canoe. So,
Hmm.
um, um, anyway, so creating a member of the class. A class description includes a section on how to create a class. That's fine. Which proficiencies and armor training. That's a new way of it's. You're not just proficient
Yeah.
of armor. You've got armor training. It's a
Yeah.
slight difference.
Yeah. It is. It has implications that I like.
Me too. Anyway, and then what you get at first level, class features you get at first, subclasses. We're not gonna worry about that right now. Free class highlights. Okay, well they've done some work for us here. Here are three highlights of this article's classes. All three classes have new features as well as revised versions of old features. When a class offers a decision, a suggested choice is usually presented, especially at lower level. Okay, cool. Each class's old 20th level abilities have been moved to 18th level, opening up 20th level for epic boons. Interesting.
This has implications. This is the only thing that I'm worried about so far in
Mm,
the UA, and I I feel it's a sort of indirect way of saying the high level play is epic level play. And from what I can tell, the classes and character options being presented for one D&D
mm,
do have do make out the player characters to be a lot more powerful at low levels. And I'm wondering if they're going to at some point express that that players or PCs are very powerful even just out the gate, and that high level play is going to be essentially epic, crazy, like demigod level
yeah, killing
stuff.
gods.
Yeah, because that move of the 20th level feature to 18th level is interesting, and I looked at the bard class in depth, and I kind of like a lot of the decisions they made. They've restructured it quite a bit. And I can't tell you, honestly, just off the top of my head, whether it's more or less powerful, at least in the first 10 levels. I can't honestly tell you if it's more or less powerful than the old version of the Bard. Only that I kind of really like the design changes they made.
Interesting. Okay, let me see if I have the same experience. Okay, so it's an expert. Your primary ability is charisma. Straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Invoking magic through music, dance, verse. This is just a preamble. We get this.
Mm.
Not every single singer power, but bards, depth of knowledge, level of musical skill, master. Okay, so this is just sort of the gist of a bard. It's not.
Mm.
I've been playing this for a while. I get the gist. That's not rules. Rules, right? Table. Okay, so the class has a table. I still like that each class has their own table. That just makes sense.
Mm.
But luckily in most systems that's still the case. First level proficiency still goes up at 5.
Yeah, the
Um,
proficiency bonus progression is still the same as far as I can tell. Let me quickly check. Yeah, and
Song
then
of
at 8,
It's
and
not Song
then
of Rest anymore. It's Song of Restoration.
songs of restoration. So it's brilliant. So you no longer learn spells as the bard. You prepare spells the way a cleric does.
Hmm.
You prepare spells from the arcane spell list, but you cannot choose spells from the abjuration, conjuration, evocation, or necromancy schools. They don't phrase it that way, but those are the 4 schools you can't pick spells from when you prepare spells as a bard, unless you use your magical secrets feature. This is incredibly clever bit of legalese on Wizards of the Coast's part. So it both buffs and simplifies the class while restricting the schools of magic you can prepare from to balance it so it's not over powerful. But then reintroducing the bard's magical secrets function, as instead of you can learn any spell you want from any list, it's essentially you can learn, you can prepare any spell from any 2 spells from any list when you get those features. But there's a lot of interesting design choices. So you'll notice that there aren't spells known. Um, the old Bard table had a spells known column for the progression. Now it just has spells, prepared
Prepare
spells
spells.
per spell level.
Mm.
Now, from reading the document, you can cast a number of spells equal to the number of spells you have prepared. So your spell slots are identical to your number of prepared spells. Um, that isn't fully clear in the table, in my opinion. I had to double check my reading when I read it,
Okay,
but it
let's
makes sense.
see.
It's very simple.
You look.
And then
Yeah.
they removed Song of Rest to include Songs of Restoration. And like a cleric, Songs of Restoration are a set of spells that you always have prepared that essentially don't count against your number of prepared spells and are essentially songs of restoration that you cast that are healing spells. I think this is brilliant. I don't know why. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's brilliant, especially when you look at how they changed the way bardic inspiration works.
Okay, but the way this is worded, you just basically just get these spells. It's still the same casting time and everything.
Yes.
Um, Interesting. I think it's nice. I just think it just essentially. I think it detracts a bit. It depends on what. Let me put it this way. It depends on what they're going to do with the cleric. But anyway, let me just quickly read a spell casting. Um, right. So you have the following spells. No, following spells prepared: color spray, disguise self, precipitation, vicious mockery. Okay, let's say that you've got those prepared. Oh, alternatively, Okay,
Yes.
you can prepare two 0 level spells and two first level spells of your choice. Each will compare from or must be from the arcane list, and it must be from the following schools of magic. Okay, obviously divination, enchantment, illusion. Okay, whatever. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can practice your bardic arts and replace any spells you've prepared for the class from another arcane spell of the same level. Okay, wonderful. Aiding
Abiding by the
abiding
school
by the.
restriction above.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oopsie. Zoomed out. Let me just zoom back in. That makes sense. Section recommendations. Obviously. Um, a spell marked with a dagger in the section is always prepared and can't be replaced when you prepare spells. What?
Those would be your songs of restoration, essentially. They're always prepared for you.
But I'll now be in the magic list. Let me just quickly go to the magic list table. So here's this arcane list. There's the different schools. Okay, no, I don't see any daggers here, so I'm just going to quickly go back to the description. Oopsie, one down. There we go. Preparing spells. Quickly.
The prepared bard spell section is at the end of the bard class.
There we go. This section provides recommended spells that you prepare at each bard level. What? At each level? Oh,
Yes.
never mind. Per level. Okay, cool. Look at your bard level and utilize and prepare the spells that level below. That really simplifies, for players to just build like a cookie cutter bard.
Yes.
Um, a spell marked with a dagger is always prepared, and yes, that's probably it's healing word, it's restoration, less restoration, and it's mass healing. Yeah, no, those are the songs of restoration.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let's see what else it says. Spell slots works the same. Shows the table shows charisma, show ability. Focus. You can use a musical instrument as a spell casting focus for the spells. Again, and obviously a second level you get expertise, but that's something else. Um, interesting. Yeah. Okay, this is very much a cleric then.
Mm-hmm. Except the arcane spell list. You prepare from the arcane spell list. And then you have school restrictions. It's I don't know. I think it's genius. Um, because it simplifies the concept of the bard without making it too powerful by also the recommended spell list is also really great for new players,
Yeah.
but now you can, as a DM and as a new player, you can just go, this is, you can prepare any spell from this spell list as long as it's not one of these from this class, this school, sorry.
Mm.
And I like that because it's not like you're never able to get access to those spells, because the magical secrets feature gives you access to spells from those schools.
The magical secret feature.
Mm-hmm.
So look at this. That's the 11th level.
Yes. But it used to be at 14th level for the old bard. No, sorry. It used the first magical secrets was at 10th level, and then the
You.
next one was at 14th level. You
I'll
got
take
two
your.
of them.
I'll take your word for it. I don't memorize any class
I,
anyway.
I don't have it memorized. I have the other bard open on D&D Beyond on the other end, and it's actually really informative to have them both open side by side and compare the two. For example, Jack of all trades used to be a second level feature. Now you get expertise at second level, and they've moved Jack of all trades to fifth level for this one.
Yeah, everything's brought down a few levels. Okay, let me just quickly read magic secrets. You have collected magical knowledge from the wide spectrum of disciplines. Choose a spell list: arcane, divine, or primal. When you prepare spells for this class, up to two of the spells you prepare can be from the chosen list and from any school of magic. Okay, wonderful. The prepared spells otherwise follow the rules of your bard spell class. Interesting. Okay. Luckily, that's at like higher levels. Hmm. Fourth level feats, 5 level jack of all trades. Does that still work the same way? You can add half your proficiency bonus, round it down to any ability check you make that uses a skill check. Um, if you make a strength check, athletics, and like athletic proficiency, you can add half your. Okay, that's an example. Okay, that's still the same.
Hmm.
Obviously, as you say, the level is probably just a little different.
Yeah, it used to be at you got Jack of all trades at second level. It's now fifth level.
Hmm.
They've shifted it a bit around. It's interesting because overall it does seem as though the class is more powerful, but at the same time the structure is different because you don't have a Song of Rest, which was a die that you could use on short rests that
Hmm.
increases per level. So your Song of Rest is completely removed and replaced with the Songs of Restoration feature. Um, Add to that, you also no longer have Counter Charm. Counter Charm is no longer a thing for the Bard. To be fair, I think I've once encountered a successful use of the Counter Charm feature of the Bard class, um, which is sad. It's not a bad feature. It's just underutilizable, if that's even a word.
Hmm.
Um, and then I don't know. I think that the only way to truly know is to this brings me back to the monsters is to know what the monsters will look like for one D&D, the encounter building and monsters, because at
I
first blush
really
this
wouldn't hold my breath too hard. Remember, because everything needs to be backwards compatible. It's gonna be pretty much
that
the
is the
same.
thing. At first blush this does seem quite powerful, but also just structured in a much more versatile way. I don't know how to put it. I like it. I overall I am very pleased with the way the bard looks at the moment.
I'm ambivalent. I don't feel strongly either way. I haven't seen anything here that seems.
Well, read the bardic inspiration section.
Let's see. Cutting words, cunning inspiration, bonus proficiencies. 16th level, bardic inspiration. Let's see.
It's the very first feature under the bard class features.
Song of restoration, multiclassing bard, first level bardic inspiration. Because dead honest, this doesn't seem special at all. This doesn't seem like it's worth the rewrite. Right. You can supernaturally inspire others through words, music, and dance. The inspiration is presented by your body inspiration die, which is D6. That's kind of normal. Is that still something that they show in the table? Yes, they do. Okay. Um, Boost a D20 test. Okay, so again, there's the word test. We talked about it last time.
Mm-hmm.
When another creature within 60 feet of you that you can see that you can see or hear fails a D20 test, you can use your reaction to give that creature a bardic inspiration die. The creature rolls that die and adds the number rolled on D20. Okay, that makes sense. Potentially turning. Okay, well, obviously.
It's different. It's very different
No, I know it's
because
different, but it's not that
yeah,
special to me. This essentially just turns it into more of a metagaming mechanic. Um, but to be fair, this it's a nice change. I'm not against it. Heal immediately after another creature within 60 feet of you can see or hear takes damage. You can use your reaction to roll your body inspiration die and restore a number of hit points to that creature equal to your number die rolled. How many uses of body inspiration do you have?
a number of uses equal to your proficiency
Number
bonus.
of uses. Right. Proficiency bonus. You can regain all of them when you finish a long rest.
Yes.
Yeah, the addition of the heal is nice. That's very nice.
But it's also a reaction. Both of them
Or
are
reactions, yeah.
reactions,
No, I'm
and
aware.
they take the power. They put the power of using your bardic inspiration in the bard's hands, which is something I do like. It is overall a more powerful bardic inspiration effect, but I like that it puts the power of the inspiration in the bard's hands. I'm not against the bardic inspiration being applied to a character, and then the character gets to use it how they choose. But at the same time, it's it's so often in a game where a character will just forget to use it. When I played my bard, I would inspire people all the time, and then people would forget to use it unless I reminded them, which meant that I was in any case kind of, as the bard going, use your inspiration now. This, I really like this of you as the bard gets to go, you get to like strike a chord on your lute and then dong, inspiration. The person gets a buff to whatever they just did.
Mm. Yeah,
It's it, it's
luckily
it,
it's still the uses hasn't gone up, so that's good.
no. Well, no, it used to be you only got a number of bardic inspirations equal to your charisma modifier.
Mm. Boric inspiration, this changes IO. Boric die column, obviously the die column, and that's here. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, the
Um,
die column hasn't changed though, the size.
yeah, to be frank, yeah, it doesn't. It's a nice change, the Boric inspiration.
Mm,
I, I, I begrudgingly have to agree on that but because I guess it makes sense. It's a nice change. The heal is a very welcome change. Because it's just a nice little add-on.
mm,
Just kind of when you need it. Other than that, I don't really see anything here that's super special. But I mean, that in itself is a nice broad change. I do like their commitment to giving pre-guided builds.
mm.
Um, but again, that's straight out of fourth edition. Um, but yeah, that's kind of cool. That's really cool. And the songs of restoration, I feel this needs a bit more time in the oven. I, I don't.
What do you not like about it?
No, I just don't like it. I don't think it does anything. It does anything specific. What I liked about Song of Rest, right, is
Yes.
that now the party has come to rest and everyone's like, okay, fine, we're taking a break. And now the bard speaks up and says, okay, and I'm gonna play a Song of Restoration. That soothing role playing situation then makes the bard the minstrel of the party in that time. So I like that role playing thing. Now that entire concept has just been turned into, oh, you know more spells, and I don't like that as much. Um, because I've played quite a few bards, and that have used Song of Rest to great success, and it makes the resting interesting, and it saves on using your hit die on rest and stuff like that. So yeah,
I understand. I like Song of Rest for the old bard. For this bard, where you have the healing function of your bardic inspiration, and where you have certain classes, namely evocation, excluded from the spells you can prepare. The Songs of Restoration concept of these are added, they don't count against your number of spells prepared. They most likely are all evocation or
mm,
abjuration spells. I think it works well for this bard, this concept. I do
not
I
for me
do
at least.
agree. I do agree that Song of Rest is a nice role play mechanic. Overall, I've always found it weak. Personally, it's a great role play mechanic, but it's weak.
But that's my point. I would rather come up with another mechanic that builds into being a bard. This is literally just lifted from cleric.
It
And
is. I'll
from
grant
cleric
you
and
that.
from tiefling, well, from cleric and warlock, you know. So why would they play this thing? I've got no. This just gives me extra spells, and if I, unless I role play at this point that I'm
Mm.
doing bardic things and acting and
Mm.
playing stuff, I can literally just say, "Oh, I'm playing a cleric," and shut the fuck up. There's nothing for players then to realize that you're a bard. Not really, at least.
Well, I disagree there. First of all, this bard has, while it has the preparation mechanic of the cleric, it has far fewer spells than even the old bard in our current fifth edition. Because the old bard had, like for example, at level 1, the spells known column showed 4. You know 4 spells as a bard. Now you can prepare 2 spells. While you might have a broader range of spells that you can pick from because you just know them all and you can prepare them like a cleric does, you can only prepare 2, whereas you used to know 4 and then could cast 2 of them because you had 2 spell slots. It's a shift.
Yeah,
But
but that's my point. Now all this change is number of spell slots. We're not talking about we're not really talking about it being songs or dance or storytelling.
mm,
It's now literally just a table of spells,
mm.
and that feels. Look, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it feels flat. It and unless a player actively wants to play a bard for a bard and be a bard,
Mm,
this will just blend into the rest of the spellcasters.
mm.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on this Songs of Restoration. But I mean, luckily there's a
Okay.
form for me to give the feedback on that. I don't mind it, being spells and giving you access to spells, but
Well, what would so do you like the Song of Rest function more, the extra die on a short rest
yeah, because I
when you
mean,
spend hit dice?
because that then is a core class mechanic that's built into resting, allowing you to use resting more effectively, and turning resting into a bit more of a narrative experience.
Mm,
And even in dangerous dungeons, where the bard then automatically, without expending spell slots or being, super extra, can just extend people's duration in a dungeon, if it's a harder dungeon, because if you if the players are actually playing with hit die, then that really becomes crucial and important and
well, I
helpful.
mean, you can do that with the heal function of the Bardic Inspiration as well, because now it's also tied not to your charisma
Yeah,
bonus,
but the heal
it's tied to
function
your
is
proficiency bonus,
yeah, but then
which
that
is
means you can heal what, 2 people, and only for a d6. Where previously, now with Bardic Inspiration for that matter, you could sing the Song of Rest, but because it's bound to a downtime activity, everyone gets it. You
mm,
know, it's not, and you don't have to save up this d6 now and not use it in combat where it's probably more useful. Um, which I do agree. I do agree with the concept of this. The change of Bardic Inspiration.
mm.
Um, I admit it is a better change, but I'm not sold on on Songs of Restoration.
All
Um,
right, fair enough.
it it just doesn't sit well with me. And the rest is just by the numbers, nothing special or unique, and you just get access to. And also the thing that makes it more interesting, which be fair, it's just magic secrets. Nothing. It the What's his face? They literally just say, okay, you get more spells.
But
So
that's exactly what Magical Secrets is for the
no, I
Bard.
know, but I'm aware. But
Mm,
now you're a bard, and other than bardic inspiration, you're basically you get spells, second level,
mm,
more spells,
mm,
and then more spells. But nothing that feature wise sets you apart to be a bard. Um, unless there are and this is where like the nuance will come in, unless the rest of the system takes the group for expert,
mm,
right,
mm,
and locks feats to that group,
mm,
if that makes sense.
mhm,
Now you take an expert with that basically is just a very narrow, a very specialized spellcaster in this case, an expert spellcaster, to get, but your feats are locked to the expert class block.
Hmm.
That might adjust this a little bit for me.
Well, I don't know. For me, it has most of the features of the old bod just reworded and reworked. And the ones that I was meh over, specifically Counter Charm, and I do like the roleplay aspect of Song of Rest, but also was kind of meh for me. Um, it I like the changes, but I can see where you're coming from.
The thing is, I never thought Song of Rest was me. Every time someone uses Song of Rest, I was super excited because I relish in the opportunity to do downtime, and to explore that side of the game, because
Mm,
that is a massive part of the game. It is,
mm, mm,
and at least from my perspective, and if hand waving it is for me it not bad, but it just, I think it detracts from what the game can be. But anyway, I
mm,
want to just also bring up I'm just loading my fancy grounds to get some of more rules. I want to quickly look at the College of Lore here,
mm.
because I mean you do
I
get a
mean, yeah,
subclass.
we're completely overlooking the subclass features that could be
Could
entirely what you're looking for.
probably, but let's have a look. Okay, so subclasses you get, they only have obviously one subclass here, so
Yeah,
um, you know something of most things. So basically, just things. You're Tyrion
yeah,
Lannister.
yeah.
Whether singing folk ballads in taverns or performing elaborate compositions in royal courts, these bards use their gifts to hold audience in spellbound. Okay. So the college members gather in libraries and sometimes in actual colleges, complete with classrooms and dormitories. Interesting. Okay, third level, bonus proficiencies. That's always useful. That's not an issue there.
That's exactly the same as the old college
Yeah,
of.
I'm not going to read those. I'm not that worried about it. It's just you're a bard. You're going to get a lot of skills anyway. Cool.
Mm,
And that's par for the course. Cutting words. You learn how to use your wit or to supernaturally distract, confuse, and otherwise sap the confidence and competence of others. When a creature you can see within 60 feet, this is usually a spell, vicious mockery. No, yeah,
now, cutting words is a function of the old College of
bard
Law
as
as
well.
well.
Okay. Well, yeah, essentially, you do the cutting words, ability check, reaction to expend one of your bardic inspirations. Okay, well, this eats from your bardic inspiration. Uh,
So did the other one.
no, no,
Um,
true. But
mm,
what I'm getting at now is that with the previous version, your bardic inspiration die quantity was based on your modifier, not just
your proficiency
not your,
bonus.
which is kind of bad because now you'll be quickly outpaced by other features from other classes. But anyway,
How so?
because you can't just increase keeping with ASI, you can't get another increase to your bardic inspiration quantity.
True, but ASIs can't bring you above 20 in a ability score, anyways.
True, but I mean you can
So you
split.
can get a maximum of 4, whereas at 20th level, presumably you could get up to 6
No, no, true.
uses.
Which I get, but no, you don't have control over that anymore.
You
Regardless of
don't.
quantity, you can't decide. Okay, I'm not that focused on it. I'm gonna go for higher strength or dexterity or look. I'm just gonna give you all the charisma all the time, every day, and then just get more of them. Um, but anyway, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an observation. Cunning inspiration through your studies, you learn to inspire others exceptionally well. When any creature rolls your bardic inspiration die, the creature can roll the die twice and use the higher of the two rolls. Interesting. Um, that sounds vaguely familiar as well. I can't remember. I don't know. Is that in the previous one as well?
No, the previous one gave you an additional magical secret as a part of the College of Law.
Okay.
And
So
then
quickly,
you didn't get a class feature at 10th level
College of
from the
Lore. Let's quickly check.
old from the old progression table. You wouldn't get a 10th level
Yeah, it says here
bardic
yeah,
feature.
additional magic secrets at 6 and then Peerless Skill at level 14.
Which is the same
But there's
again.
nothing for 10th level in the classic part. So improved cutting
Yeah.
words, which basically just takes cutting words and improves it. So what does it do now? Improved cutting words. Whenever you use cutting words feature on your character on a creature, you can deal psychic damage to that creature equal to the number rolled on the bardic inspiration plus your charisma modifier. Yeah, that's a nice alteration at level 10. That makes it keep up again. Okay, that's fair. Peerless Skill. When you make an ability check and fail, you can expend one use of Bardic Inspiration. For so many things that are powered by Bardic Inspiration, you're going to end up with so few Bardic Inspirations based on proficiency, you might just, yeah, luckily at 10th level it goes up, but you can end up with a character that wants to short or long rest constantly, but that's going to always be the case. It's not that bad
Mm.
though. I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to
Uh,
be an issue.
for hearing that is actually kind of a relief. If they genuinely are using their inspiration that often, and they will probably this version of the bard, that means that they are balanced, because that's what I'm most worried about, is that this is way more powerful than the current version of the bard.
No, look, the improved cutting words here makes it be more potent, but it doesn't give you more uses. And quantity
No.
of uses for me is a little bit more useful in the long run than just being once or being a glass cannon blowing up once and going down the way. I
Mm,
think this balances with the bardic inspiration quantity and the lore college. This balances out nicely.
mm,
And um, although I'm still not sold on Songs of Restoration, so I would have liked this to be a bit more similar to the previous one, just for narrative reasons, personal
mm,
narrative reasons. The addition of the college or of the subclass itself immediately obviously makes it stand out more as like a bard, with
mm,
with cutting words and cunning inspiration constantly being something happening, and that's enough.
mm,
Other
mm.
players aren't gonna care. This now makes it a bard again. So yeah, no, definitely. Um, but yeah, no. Other than that, one thing, it's not bad. It's just and it's nice to see they're not making massive broad changes. They're just updating the wording to fit with the new core mechanics, mostly,
Yes.
and
Mm.
tweaking it and bringing some of the higher level stuff to
It
lower
does
levels.
feel to me like it's a cumulative experience, decision based creation.
Mm,
They're just reacting to what they think is what the community wants, what the community is reacting positively towards. And with feedback, they'll get,
but
if they actually do genuinely look at the feedback, which I'm sure they will, with the overwhelming feedback that they supposedly did get, with genuine feedback, they will then genuinely know what the community is reacting positively towards and negatively towards, which
true.
I am super excited to see.
I do agree with you with with the idea. It's sad to me that let me put it this way. It's sad to me you're essentially right. It's sad to me that bardic inspiration needs to be basically be forced back to the bard's hands. Um,
That change there is actually a sad truth. It is an
I like
it
the
is
change,
really the
but it's
the
sad that it has to
concept.
happen.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful concept that the bard uses their bonus action on their turn, inspires someone. They're inspired because the music of the bard is inspiring. But it,
But now you're
it
essentially
is
going, be
you're
inspired, and slaps him in the face. You are now
you,
inspired.
but the way it would role play was never role play. It was always
Yeah,
meta. For me, it was always
always
meta
meta.
when someone had to use their bardic inspiration.
Now, even though it might mechanically not be as romantic, I think is
Yeah,
the word I'm looking for.
yeah.
It will be way more useful now.
It'll be less
Wasted.
immersion breaking, so to speak,
Yeah, less
and
wasted.
wasted.
Honestly,
Yeah,
good lord.
yeah,
Because I do agree with you. It's just sad. It's a nice change. I'm just sad I had to make it. Um,
yeah.
Rogue. Oh no, I'm skipping Ranger. Sorry.
The ranger, yes. I haven't looked at the ranger at all. That's the one I'm most keen to actually go over.
Well, give it a read. You start reading the Ranger. I'm just gonna keep bring up the Ranger on Fancy Grounds as well.
Well, we can read the preamble. I'm not going to read all of it. It's just far from the bustle of cities, amid the trees of trackless forests and across wide plains, rangers keep their unending watch. But yes, creating a ranger. To create a ranger, consult the following lists, which provide hit points, proficiencies, and armor training. If you're making a first level character, also consult the starting equipment section. Again, the starting equipment section is so nice because it says you have arrows, explorer's pack, longbow, quiver, scimitar, short sword, studded leather armor, 8 gold pieces. Or you can forego that and spend 150 gold pieces on equipment of your choice. I like that.
Yeah, but that's always
Um,
kind of been the case.
kind of, but also not.
What do you mean also not?
Well, you
You've
get
always had suggested equipment.
you've always had suggested equipment. That's true, but you haven't had a set equipment starting gold. You could roll for starting gold, which is kind of cool at the same time. But I've never been in a group that's actually rolled for starting gold.
Yeah, because it's basically a waste of time. Because even in D&D one, people are gonna just ignore that starting gold and work it out of the DM anyway.
Mm. But anyways, I like it.
No,
But
fair enough.
armor training, light armor, medium armor, shields, weapons, simple weapons, martial weapons. So far, so good. And then I'm just going to scroll back a bit. Saving throw, strength, and dexterity. So far, so good. Skills, athletics, stealth, survival, or choose 3 from animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. So they're also giving us suggested skill proficiencies, which is kind of cool. Very, very new player friendly. But
Okay.
yeah, I would, if I were creating the system, not that I'm any sort of expert, put it the other way around. I would start with choose any of these or pick these 3. That's the way around I would have put it. I would have thought that Wizards of the Coast would have learnt that lesson with backgrounds, because their updated version of backgrounds is you're supposed to create your own background, but here are some suggestions. I would have thought that that would apply to all of these. I would have thought that here's your choices. Here's a suggestion. Um,
Are you
but
referring
anyways,
now? What are you referring down to the skills?
all of the suggestions, whether it's skills or suggested spells,
Okay.
any suggestions they make, I would, in order of progression, I would first pick the choices you can pick from and then put the suggestions. I wouldn't put the suggestions first.
Why?
From my experience, and I'm using backgrounds as the biggest metric, whenever you put your suggestions first in the order of priorities, people often think that those aren't suggestions, they're commands.
Well, unless they start reading.
Unless they start reading, which
Which is what I would always then put the suggestions ahead, because people don't want to read, they want to play. So giving the suggestions and then making sure that the suggestions are anchored by as close to the start as possible makes it easier for me as a game master to reference that content. But if
fair. I
but
suppose that is a design choice.
but if the let's say it's an armor listing or a skill listing entry, let's say
Mm,
it's the bard. Now the skill listing entry is half a page, and I have to like find the suggested list bullet point every
mm,
time. Where if it was the heading at the top, I personally would prefer it to be at the top closer. Um,
mm.
because
I
it's
can
fine if
I
people gravitate to the suggestion. It's up because at least they're balanced and
mm.
suggested.
I
Where
just really don't. It's a pet peeve of mine when it doesn't happen very often, I'll admit, but it's happened once or twice where I will build a character or something will come up, and then because something is suggested, it's taken as the the better, the greater, the superior
by
option.
other
And
players.
whether specifically when I want to do something other than the suggestion.
Mm.
Whenever I try, um, and this is not something that's unique to just D&D in general. Whenever I try and perform an action that isn't the suggested course, And the other suggestion isn't, it's just a pure suggestion. It isn't, it might come from a place of like experience or just ease or what have you, but I like picking things that I like being contrary wise. I like being contrary wise sometimes.
No, I
And
guess, but
when if I ever encounter a scenario where the DM's like, no, pick the suggested skills, I'm going to huff and puff and blow the house down
well, then you can huff
because
and
I want
puff
to
and
pick my
not stay
I
on
want
this table. But
true.
you might need to consider that it might be a DM that needs those skills because they know them very well and they've got a limited
Or
time to
who's
play the
lazy
game.
and doesn't care about character player choice. He just wants you to make a the cookie cutter. Make your cookie cutter
Or I'm a
and
busy
join the
DM
table.
running 3 to 4 games at a con 4 days in a row, and I don't have time to sit and to theory craft your special character.
True,
It goes both
true,
ways.
it does, but then give them pre-gens. Don't let them create characters at all.
Exactly, I give people in pre-gens. Look, but
I
yeah,
agree. I also give people pre-gens. It's not. I'm not against pre-gens. It's just I don't. If I do want to create a character, really let me create a character,
yeah, but that's
or give me a
fine.
pre-gen. Don't give me
But then,
half measures.
the, but then, yeah, then in that case, I I'd still then say put the suggestions at the top,
True.
because then that's out of the way quickly, and you can just the rest of the page is then the finer information.
Yeah, for the people who want it, I'll concede that point.
Yeah, the I've just quickly went over proficiency bonuses. They still remain the same. Still up to level 20. Epic Boon is now at level 20, as mentioned earlier.
I
Obviously, you
think
get
that's
now.
going to be the same for most of the
Obviously,
UA
that's
classes.
definitely. Foe
Hmm.
Slayer is down to level 18. Um,
Well, I want to quickly look at favorite enemy. The first level feature favorite enemy
that's going to
compared
be a
to
big
old.
difference. Yeah, let's see
Yeah.
what that says because that'll be a big change. Favorite enemy. You are adept at focusing your ire on a single foe. You always have the Hunter's Mark, that's a spell, Hunter's Mark spell prepared. And it doesn't count against your number of spells you can prepare. That's nice. Moreover, you don't unless you get a level 1. That's super cool.
Hmm.
Moreover, you don't have to concentrate on that or on the spell once you cast it. Oh, what? That's awesome! It lasts for a full duration until the end, until you
Until you
end it
end
as
it
a
as a
bonus action,
bonus action.
or until you are incapacitated. That's so cool.
That is a really nifty simplification
So,
of
that instead
favorite
of
enemy.
having like a list, because what's the problem with favorite enemy was that you'd have to guess basically.
Hmm.
I really hate goblins, or I really hate troglodytes, and then unless and then you might get lucky with the beginning of the campaign, or like a single side mission or
Hmm.
something in the campaign, and then next time moment you end up is, for example, let's say I'm in Icewind Dale and I chose a favorite enemy, um,
Hmm.
woolly mammoths or saber-tooths
Well,
because
it's
they're
an entire class, it's entire monster category. So it would be
a beast.
dragons, constructs,
Yeah. Now
beasts.
let's
Yeah.
say beast. Now we get to
Hmm.
the actual prime, like the level 15, 16 stuff in the
Yeah.
Empire of Nethys stuff, and
Hmm.
then you're not fighting any of that at all,
Hmm.
even
It's mostly
vaguely.
aberrations
And
or
basically,
undead.
you're just in a very capable turret.
Yeah.
But this is nice. I like this. This
It's
is
I
a.
find it interesting you like this
I
because it
like
is
this.
just an spell edition, but I do like the
No, but
inclusion of you
no,
don't
okay.
need to
No, it's not
concentrate.
just a spell edition. It's a spell edition with the concentration as an extra special rule.
Yes.
Where with the bard, it was just like here's some more spells, and they work exactly the same spells. But yeah, no, this is simple and elegant, and at least before the ranger, this is nice. I'm probably overhyping this, but I like it.
I do too.
Um,
I do like it as well. Um,
what else is here?
then we have spellcasting. I'm not going to go over spellcasting. I do want to. No, I'm
Yeah.
going to quickly skim through it.
Fighting
Uh,
style, spellcasting, you now get a level 1, not a level 2, which means that you don't have to slog through level 1 of playing a martial class before you start getting spells. Although your spell slots remain, your prepared spells remain the same for 2 levels, so that's still there's that lag period. Although if you look at the table here, the lag period now is you're basically it's 2 levels at a time, so it's 2 levels the same spell slots, 2 levels the same spell slots, and it goes like that all the way through. So level 1 and
The
2.
the ranger this ranger also gets cantrips and first level spells at first level.
Exactly, that's what.
The
Yeah,
original ranger, yeah,
didn't. No, I'm aware.
didn't know. Yeah, that's a nice. I like that shift. That is a
Oh,
power buff, but they also prepare
it's the
spells.
spell list. This okay. So the spell slots table is exactly the same as the old one. They literally just added the duplicated the second level spell lists and gave spell slots and gave them into the first level. They literally just moved spellcasting up one level.
Yeah, you just get your
Are you on the spellcasting now? What schools does the can you really can really go either way, says God of Moxie. Favorite enemy was such a strangely made meta ability. I do agree, it was strangely made. For me, it was always the kind of thing of like if you're playing a one shot, or if you get a ranger as an NPC, that you go to a town and says, "Listen, we need a guy. We need a guy that knows how to hunt trolls." And then in the corner, there's the hooded ranger that knows
Sorry, I specialize in celestials. Bye
I, I,
bye.
I am the the troll slayer. So, and they take him out to the fight. It's like, no, 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 no. I said toe slayer. Toe slayer. I do
Toe
pedicures.
slayer. I do pedicures. Oh lord.
It's like he brings out a small file. That's what I do. Smack. Goes flying.
Whenever you finish a long rest, can move with nature and replace any spell you have prepared for the class with another primal spell of the same level that isn't an in evocation. Okay, so any from this primal spell list that isn't in the evocation school.
I love
Um,
that they're keeping evocation to the wizards.
I do too. I really
It
do.
warms my heart because you and I had the same problem with this in various different little ways. But
Th-
I like
I,
this.
f- I there's like a Venn diagram of classes. Wizards should be the pinnacle of spell casting, or like pinnacle. People will take it the wrong way, but
Look,
I'm gonna make it.
wizard should pinnacle might not be the right word, but wizards should definitely be the more encompassing version of it,
Yeah.
where
So
if you get a class that can cast a few spells. Oh, what do you do? A wizard is the guy walking into town, crafting scrolls,
yes.
building spells,
Mm,
carrying around the source material, going into a
mm,
dungeon and goes, "Oh, hang on, yeah, no, I know. I've got a library of spells available to me. If you give me a long rest, I can quickly retool my entire fucking existence.
mm.
Because I am a master of the arcane.
They should
Whereas a
be
sorcerer is just, essentially a well-practiced magical muscle.
the what's the word for paramount. Don't think that's the word. They should be wizards should
The
be
epitome.
the they should be the spellcasting class that is like the one that you reference the others by. Sorcerer should allow you to do different things with spellcasting, but shouldn't be the same as wizard. But then on the opposite end, fighter should be the ultimate at combat, specifically close combat. Ranger should be the best at long range, but anyways, no.
Martial
On
rangers.
the Venn diagram of classes, wizard, spellcaster, cleric, healer, fighter, damage dealer, rogue, subterfuge.
Batman,
That's
Batman's a
that's what they should
wizard.
be.
Hulk is a sorcerer. The way Hulk is yeah, no, that
Batman's a
makes
wizard.
absolute sense.
Hulk is a
That
sorcerer.
makes absolute sense. Yeah, no.
If the magic they were casting is kick ass.
I cast fist. Anyways, yeah, this doesn't seem too strange. Long rest for casting. I at this point, I in the bard, it's in under the bard, it's just the song of rest. I don't fully agree with, but I do like that all the classes kind of function uniformly.
Mm,
Um, but now and then instead of adding complexity per class, they essentially added the pseudo complexity at the start by dividing the groups up,
mm,
and then basically just actually using the schools to clarify things, the schools of
mm,
magic, which
mm,
I really enjoy. I mean, it's a handle of information that's always been there, but never
mm.
really been used, other than for wizards.
Yeah, other than essentially law and meta information.
Do we think there's another level 10 the Bard got something that the original Bard didn't get. So this level 10 is kind of the same. At this level 10, you get your second subclass feature as well. So your subclass feature, it seems like at level 10, okay. So currently, it seems like their bold mentality here is that at level 6, you get your first subclass feature or one of your subclass
You
feature
pick your subclass at third level, and
at
then
third
you
level,
get your
and then
first subclass feature after that at
at
sixth. Yes.
10th level, you should get a feature that buffs the third level's one. So let's see if that's still the case here. Where's the subclass for this bastard?
Hunter.
Hunter.
Sixth level Hunter's Law, and okay, so the third level feature you get when you pick it is Hunter's Prey, and then the sixth level feature is Hunter's Law, and the 10th level feature is multi attack.
Oh, for
Ooh, 10th level multi
multi
attack. You
attack
now
isn't.
have Conjure Barrage prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare.
I
You can
like
also
that.
cast the spell with a first and second level spell. When you do so, the spell's damage is reduced by 1d8 for each slot level below third. Oh, because Conjure Barrage is a third level spell.
Here we go. Here's the hunter stuff. Third level hunter spray.
That's interesting.
I like this
That,
mechanic of taking essentially a power like fourth
yeah.
edition D, a power, which is just rules that break the core rules basically.
Mm,
Um, but now, because that's what spells are, and basically instead of rewriting the entire book and giving something around, they basically take a spell off the shelf and just say
mm.
this guy can use this all the time, and it's kind of the
Or can
same
use it in this unique way.
in this unique way, which kind of is the reason I personally kind of like the Artificer's flavor, because in the Artificer they say, look, you're technically using technology to do these things, although it counts as magic.
Mm.
If that makes sense. So that's why every time we role play an Artificer, we say like, I heal you, but a bunch of needle. I cast healing word, for example, but I like shoot a needle at you.
I'm a bard. I
Y-
play a few strings. You are healed.
exactly.
I'm an
Bard
artificer.
strings.
I
Sorry,
put some staples in you. You're
what did you
healed.
say was a really good change now? Was it the superior hunter's defense or
The Conjure Barrage, the multi attack, the casting of the high level spell at lower levels is an interesting concept. That in itself is a feature that could be applied in a lot of different ways to a lot of different things.
what
I
level
see
is Conjure
potential.
Barrage?
Conjure Barrage is a third level spell, if I'm not mistaken.
But at level 10, they should have third level spells available.
True, but you usually can't cast a
Yeah.
third level spell using lower level spell slots. But because the ranger
Oh,
doesn't have that many spell slots, your third level spell, this Conjure Barrage, this third level spell can
I
be
see what
cast
you're
at
meaning
lower
here.
levels with lower damage. That concept as a mechanic is really clever.
That's very nice. Basically almost retrocasting the spell.
Yes.
But it's not a spell for you, you're just being extra. See, this, by the
Yes.
way, right, would count in Starfinder in 3rd edition, this type of thing would be marked as an EX, extraordinary ability.
Mm.
So it's almost magical in appearance, but it's just very extraordinary.
Mm.
And it's not a spell per se. But the year in Starfinder and Pathfinder now, but this is now directly called a
I
spell.
do wonder though,
This
because
was
this brings up
you can
the
counterspell core abilities
yes.
then.
This brings up the counterspell
Argument, yeah.
conundrum. And I can foresee a potential workaround.
Well,
With
counterspell are you going to just keep counterspelling the freaking martial character's base abilities, or you're rather going to counterspell the goddamn fireball the wizard is sending your way?
true, but I mean, the point is, counterspell is kind of a literal, almost deflation of a moment in a lot of circumstances on either end, whether it's the DM doing it to the players or the players doing it to the DM.
Well, not
But
always, but I do get
but
where you're
not
coming
always.
from.
But that I don't I just know that there are going to be complaints. I'm predicting the the people who are going to be, I don't like this ability because of counterspell. But that's why I was going to preempt that by saying, I can see a workaround. If they want to lean into their divine, primal, and arcane spell lists,
Mhm.
you could incorporate a version of Counterspell that only works on arcane spells.
That's an interesting point. I mean, at some point they'll probably have to rewrite some of the spells,
Mm.
um, which is interesting. But things like this will make the backwards compatibility with 5th edition a little bit problematic, but not bad. But
Mm.
anyway, no. Getting back to the point, very very nice.
Mm.
I like this. Um, yes. Let's have a quick look at the rogue.
So I'm also just going to do an overview of the rest of the features. We kind of skipped over them.
Go for it.
So at second level, you get fighting style. You got that as the original ranger. And then you also got spellcasting. This has been moved to first for the new one. Then at third level, you pick your subclass. And then at fourth level, you get a feat that's still the same. And then at fifth level, you get an extra attack that is the same. And then at sixth level, you get another subclass feature, whereas you used to get favored enemy and
Okay.
natural explorer. Favored enemy and natural oh, you get another favored enemy at sixth level. Um,
Rogues
or does
alive
it
kind of
improve?
stuff.
Anyways, I like the subclass feature
Mm.
concept.
The rest of the stuff kind of follows the same numbers, maybe like shifted around a bit, but nothing too unique. Creating a
Seventh
rogue.
level, this is new, roving.
Roving.
Yeah, yeah, roving. Your speed increases by 10 feet while you aren't wearing heavy armor. You also have a climb speed and a swim speed equal to your speed. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
that makes you overland travel beast.
really good. That's really good. You gain the ability score improvement feat. Oh, that's just a feat at 8th level. Oh,
Tireless. Temporary. Okay, primal forces now help you fuel your journeys, granting you the following benefits: temporary hit points. Whenever you finish a short rest or a long rest, you can give yourself a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your proficiency bonus. Fucking hell. You're just good at taking a power nap. Um,
yeah.
Decrease exhaustion. If you're exhausted, you can finish a long short rest. You leveled increase your short rest. You can decrease exhaustion with you sort through short rests.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That makes, I mean,
That is
you.
really cool.
That's really really nice. See, this is what I was talking about. Stuff like this makes the base class feel like the outdoor survivalist.
Mm,
This is what I was talking about with the bard. It's not just another dump of a spell list here. It's actually
mm,
something that tells me, ah, this guy is hardy and knows how to, spursnay, how to pathfind.
yeah. And then 13th
This
level,
this by the
Nature's
way,
Veil.
this decreased exhaustion depending on how the rest of the rules turn out might be a tad powerful. But it's definitely within the
But
framework.
currently, there are actually so few ways to decrease exhaustion.
There are, and it's nice to have a class that that is just a bit more hardy with exhaustion
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
Because that's,
Good
I
at
mean, what
sleeping,
rangers
as
are
you say.
supposed to be.
Good at taking power naps.
A fighter can take a punch from a monster in from a giant in Icewind Dale.
Mm.
A ranger can take a punch from Icewind Dale. The environment.
Yeah.
I think where it feels like they're giving a bit of extra love to the ranger, and we all know why.
You invoke spirits of nature to magically hide yourself from view. As a bonus action, you can expend a spell slot and become invisible until the end of your next turn.
That's 13th level. That's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Feral
Uh,
Senses blind sight for 30 feet.
uh,
That's useful. And then
Interesting.
Foe Slayer is just back there. Your Hunter's Mark, which is now redefined earlier, is now 1d10.
What? What's the original 15th level feature? It was originally a ranger archetype.
Standby.
Feral Sense is powerful.
It
Your
is now.
connection to the forces of nature grants you blind sight with a range of 30 feet. That's better than true sight in some situations.
But it does lean towards the sort of the thought you shared earlier about higher level any player above and beyond 10th level is very quickly going to escalate to fight to punching God.
Yeah, it
um,
is. I think that is sort of like the design mentality
but
I
again,
feel.
it as you also as you said earlier, it will depend on the flavor
Yeah.
of the monsters we're getting.
Yeah, so if the encounter building and the monsters are balanced to scale well at higher levels,
Mm,
um, we'll we'll see how it feels because no, inevitably at higher levels you're expected to fight more and more dangerous threats.
mm,
I think the thing is about the level of effort. I think that's the biggest thing fifth editions like gripe people have about the high level play is for a DM, it's a lot of effort to challenge high level players because the monsters are quickly outmatched in terms of action economy and sheer like raw ability.
yeah,
Because
it kind of for me feels like at higher levels you constantly need to be doing a mob that we're playing with the mob rules,
it
whereby
feels like
you as
DMs
the
need to be
DM,
running armies
yeah,
against
you as the
these five
DM don't
people.
roll. You
Mm,
have a chart. You know what? You just checked what's your armor class. I've got 5 monsters, and you just check reference it, and you say 5 of them hit, and you carry on.
mm,
And then you've
mm,
got um, uh, Chinatown movies with Jackie Chan where there's nine guys versus one,
mm,
and it's epic. It's exciting and it's high octane. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's how it currently feels. That how, based on my more recent experience, that's how I'll run high level play. Considering.
mm,
Um, but anyways, I'm moving on to the rogue.
mm.
Where's the rogue? Rogue is here. So rogue is roughly the same stuff you can experience. Cunning action is level 2. Roguish archetype is level 3. Um,
All right, so you get expertise, that's the same, and you get sneak attack. So let's read how sneak attack looks. You know how to turn a subtle attack into a deadly one. Once on each of your turns, when you take the attack action, you can deal extra damage to one creature you hit with an attack roll, if you're attacking with a finesse weapon or a ranged weapon, and if at least one of the following requirements is met. I do like that they have bolded them and separated them out of the main body of text.
so they haven't. Just a quick note on that before we continue. Sneak attack damage die. The array and what they start as and their beat is exactly the same as fifth edition. So that
Okay, good.
hasn't they didn't shift that up the same way they did some of the other classes.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, because I think most of the feedback on previous things that they were, because they have
They
released
they're already
feedback
quite
forms in the
powerful.
past, and those feedback forms often included what do you think of class features? And yeah, sneak attack has always been a good class feature. It's been good.
It's reliable, easy to understand, and it's really effective.
But
So
I do like that they've now, if at least one of the following requirements is met, and that's advantage, you have advantage on the attack roll, or an ally adjacent to a target. At least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the target. The ally isn't incapacitated, and you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll.
that's a very important wording because that means you don't get the advantage, meaning you still shoot a disadvantage.
Sorry?
Depending on the situation, ignore me. Carry on.
This is, by the way, exactly the same. It's just structured
Mm.
differently. It's exactly the same as how sneak attack
Yeah,
currently works.
the wording is just in different places.
Yes. It came up. When did it come up? Was it? I think it was in Medusa Madness, wasn't it? No. Yes, it
It,
was.
yeah,
It was in Medusa Madness. If you have disadvantage on the attack roll, it doesn't count even if there are allies adjacent.
yeah.
Anyways, and then you get Thieves' Cant. Why is this like a bolded, like a entire class feature? You picked up
Because
up various
Thief Cant is
languages.
bolded class feature in fifth edition as well.
Oh, it is.
This is just the same. This is just means you've got
Yeah.
you know Thieves Cant. This has always been semi useful for me. It always comes up. Cunning action. Let's see. Cunning action still the same. Bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide. Nothing changed here.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue subclass. This is
Mm-hmm.
this is almost exactly just a reworded version of the existing thing.
Yeah, but I mean, if the class ain't broken, they don't need to fix it.
Oh God, yes, no. I mean, the rangers are rogues are quite effective.
Uh-huh. Uncanny dodge at 5th level.
I used to dislike rogues the most, but that shifted. Druids can go screw themselves now.
Especially moon druids. Oh
Especially
my
moon.
gosh.
Let's see here. Expertise,
Also,
feet.
what does the moon have to do with being the best shapeshifter around? That's all I really want to know.
It's to do with like werewolves
Ugh.
and the changing of the seasons and tides and the changing of the body.
But surely the circle of the. Ah, it's fine. It's fine. I would have liked more things that actually have to do with shifting seasons and tides, and, you know,
Yeah, more
that sort of thing.
druid stuff. Hey, we've just been raided by Fancy Grounds. Thank you guys. We're doing. I'm using Fancy Grounds to reference old rules in relation to the new 5th edition rules. Um,
The
so
one D&D playtest material.
yes, the 1D&D playtest material. Using Fancy Grounds on my side, on the right hand side, to just bring up the tables and compare. Currently,
It's
we're busy with the rogue.
yeah, we've already gone through the bard and the ranger from the new UA.
If anyone is in chat and wants to sort of like pipe in on what they think about the new bard, ranger, or rogue, please ask away. We already have some hot takes. Anyway,
Very hot, very spicy, especially about the bard.
yeah, I really don't really like. There's things about the bard that I don't like, but we'll
The
get
new
over
bard.
it. The new bard, the old bard I like, but anyways, the old bard, like a bearded dude in the corner.
Too big.
In my day, we used to
I
sing
don't
our
like this
songs.
newfangled bard.
All these new electronic instruments and finangles. Anyways, Slippery Mind, subclass, what else is here?
Wait, what?
So,
Slippery Mind at 15th level.
yeah, that's one of the things, but
Oh, it's the same.
it's the same. It's nothing really different here. This is kind
Mm.
of all the same.
Gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws.
Uncanny Dodge is still the same. Feat is the same. Evasion, is that still the same? You can nimbly
Where
dodge out of
is
the way,
evasion?
level 9. You can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain dangers when you are subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw.
They've shifted it.
To take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed a saving throw and only half damage if you fail. No, that's still the same. Oh, but you mean they shifted
It
it
works
up
the
in
same, but it
sequence?
used to be at 7th level. It's now at 9th.
Oh, why are they getting nerfed?
Well, they're not because they are and they aren't. So because there is still the fact that they receive a 10th level subclass feature, which they never used to.
Oh.
So
And now they
it's
also get the
because
6th level subclass feature, which they
yeah,
also didn't used to.
yeah. So
Huh.
it's a thing of the restructuring of all the classes as a whole in the new UA.
Mm.
That means that they probably will have to shift. They can't verbatim copy it without it being just different from the way they've structured the new classes. I can see. I like that they kept some of the most reliable features of the class intact, as it were. Specifically, like sneak attack is basically perfectly intact. While then also keeping in mind that because they've shifted the class structure, um, things like evasion, which is also a very powerful feat, will need to be moved to higher level.
Yeah, let me put it this way. The rogue for me currently feels like the most like nuts and bolts work has gone into with shuffling things around, or at least maybe at least it looks more obvious here. I just want to quickly compare Slippery Mind, the old to the new. Slippery Mind,
You
your
gain proficiency in wisdom and charisma saving throws.
exactly the same.
It's
No, it's not.
yeah, you only gain proficiency in wisdom
In
saves.
the
Now
old
it's
one.
both
Yeah,
wisdom and charisma. Ooh.
and
Powerful, powerful, powerful.
here I thought they were nerfing the rogue. Anyway, so my curious now is obviously the epic boon. By the way, might I just say, I
Mm,
like that epic boons, which was usually a rule that the most DMs didn't even know existed,
mm.
is now part of the classes.
I do too. I like them too.
It
I,
fits into reaching freaking 20th level. It's so cool.
yeah, it gives it that sort of like everyone gets an epic boon. You are epic at 20th level. But here's something I think you'll also like, which I
Yeah.
don't know if you've picked up on. I don't know if you watched the video with Jeremy
I
Crawford or not.
legitimately have not made it time yet.
No worries. So another thing that they did, which you might like, is
Yeah.
ASIs. So you'll notice that all of the times you would have gotten an ASI or what have you, instead you get a feat. You get a feat. It's not an it's not an ability score improvement anymore. You get a feat. And then you can pick the ability score improvement feat or another feat of your choice. So it is a feat you take
Oh,
instead of,
that is cool.
yeah, that's a clever little design change.
That's so cool. I mean, functionally it does exactly the same thing, but
Functionally, yes.
it changes the language of the thing, and that's very
Yes.
important.
Yes.
That's so cool. You're right. Yeah, every fourth level it's feet. I mean, if we quickly put here find feet. Don't Google that, kids. Um,
Or
uh,
do.
or
We're not your
do. I'm
parents.
not gonna. Okay, God of Moxie. That's a great change to make feet a real part of the game. Yes, like with walking. Um, it's partly that
Badum.
I'm just being a twat. Let me just. But yeah, there we go. It's feet now comes up instead of yeah ASI. That's important for me because now, as you say, it's a real part of the game. Feats were always a variant rule. It was
Yeah,
always
an
a variant,
optional
an
rule.
optional rule. So I like that it's now part of it.
Yeah, it's
Because feats are fun. Feats
yeah,
really
feats
add to
are
your card.
awesome.
They're one of the. It's like, oh, you leveled up. The feat store is your candy shop. That is
Yes.
so fun to go read through your feats
Yes. And
because it
then
doesn't.
I really like if they do stick to the concept of, first of all, in the previous UA, the feats bound to level. And now with this UA, the potential for feats, we haven't actually looked at them. There might already be some,
We'll go
but
over them in
feats
a moment.
bound to class groups.
Mm?
So I'm
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm excited for that.
But first up, let's just quickly look. What's the subclass they give here? So they give us the thief.
Yeah, the straight up thief.
Okay, let me just load the thief on Fantasy Ground side as well. All right.
Okay, so you get fast hands.
Second story work, Supreme Sneak, Use Magic Device, and Thieves Reflexes was the original 5. This time around, Fast Hands is still there, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Second story work is still there, so that's kind of still vaguely the same.
Mm,
Your climb speed is you could
mm,
basically gain a climb speed, which has
mm, mm,
always
mm,
been very underrated to me. I think it's very important actually.
mm.
Supreme Sneak you now get, which
Now,
is
yeah,
you got a
that
bit of
used
US
to be a
as well.
ninth level feature. It's now a sixth level feature.
That's nice. Supreme Sneak is you have advantage on every dexterity stealth check if you aren't wearing medium or heavy armor. Level 10, you get use magic device. Usually that was at level 13, so that's up by quite a few levels. Level 14, you get thieves reflexes. But I don't see any extra stuff here. They just moved everything up.
Yeah, they moved it around, but Supreme
Why?
Sneak got a change. It used to be you have advantage on Dex stealth checks if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn.
Oh, yeah, but now you can move normally. It's just a question of
What armor are you
armor you're
wearing?
wearing.
Interesting.
That's a very detailed, that's an interesting change there. I'm just gonna highlight this
Second
for
story
myself.
work. I just want to quickly look at second story work. You have trained to reach especially hard to reach places, granting you these benefits: a climb speed and a jump speed. No, climbing no longer costs you extra movement. In addition, when you make a running jump, the distance you cover increases by a number of feet.
So the original one read, you can choose an archetype. You gain ability to climb faster than normal. Climbing no longer costs you extra movement. So basically, your base movement speed. It's another way of saying your
Hmm.
base movement speed
Yeah.
becomes a climb speed. Great.
Yeah.
In addition, when you make a running jump, the distance covered increases by the
They
number
are
of
the
feet.
same. It's just
Yeah,
structured differently.
it's just reworded, but it's
Yeah.
not it's not a bad rewording
Yeah. I
at
do.
all.
It's a more clear
It's more clear.
structure format. In your treasure hunting, I'm reading Magic Device now. In your treasure hunting, you
Mm.
have learned how to maximize use of magic items, granting you the following benefits. Attunements. You can attune up to 4 magic items. Has this always been a feature?
Yeah, the thief has always had this. This is old school.
No. Wait, yeah? You ignore all class and race level requirements when you use magic items.
Yeah, here's the original one. 13th level, you
Yeah,
gained
but
an.
you don't get an extra attunement slot.
You learned enough about the workings of magic item. You can use the item you're not intended to. Ignore all class, race, and level requirements on the use. Does it now give you another achievement slot?
Yes.
Oh
Can
wow! Good
attune up to
God!
4 magic items at once. This used to be only the Artificer got more attunement
But I
slots up
like
until
this.
now.
Now
I
you've got,
do.
I've got like this thief running out of a building with 9 rings and 2 crowns and 5 necklaces, and he's like,
Charges.
one of these has
Also,
got to
whenever
work.
you use a magic item property that expends a charge, roll a d6. On a roll of 6, you use the property without expending the charges. That's
Oh,
wow. Scrolls. You can use any spell
that's
scroll
powerful.
that bears a cantrip or a first level spell. You can also try to use any spell scroll that contains a higher level spell, but you must first succeed on an intelligence arcana check. That is an interesting inclusion if you are using the rules where if you don't have the spell on your spell list, you can't cast that spell. No, even if it's on a
Yeah.
scroll.
So this circumvents that.
Yeah, to a degree.
See, this now really adds flavor to a thief.
Yes.
You don't learn magic. You don't go out and build the knowledge. You go nick other people's cool shit and keep using it, and use it better than they do. This is very much like Prince of Persia, which in Sands
Yeah.
of Time, where you steal this magical dagger and you're just very very good at using it, but you've got no idea how it works. Um, no, I like this. This is cool. I'm gonna move over to
Okay.
feats.
Thieves reflexes has changed as well.
It has.
So the original read when you reach 17th, you become adept at laying ambushes and quickly escaping danger. You can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You take your first turn at your normal initiative and your second turn at your initiative minus 10. Now it reads you can take a second bonus action on your turn, provided it is a bonus action from cunning action. You can use this feature on a number of turns equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Honestly, here I'm not sure which I like more.
Yeah, it's kind of
The new one has more, you can use it more often in theory,
I like the new
but
one
but
more.
the old one had the potential to be very cool. You like took 2 turns in the first round of combat.
Yeah, but that
But
require.
anyways,
But the reason I kind of like the new one more is this releases the core mechanic of the class away
mm,
from one singular type of initiative,
mm, it
where
does. I do
different
like
types of
this.
initiative systems can always be fun on a table. But if your class is written into the like plain good old normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 go, meh.
Mm,
Um, God of Moxie on the channel. The two of us have spent hours discussing and debating the pros and cons of playing card-based initiative and speed initiative and all the different types of initiative.
mm.
Because something like Deadlands and playing with card initiative, really really fun. And I think if the classes aren't bound into base initiative system, it's really nice. Although I mean,
Oh,
as you say, the old one had the power of you fucking with the initiative sequence, which is kind of cool as well.
yes.
It was really really cool. Um,
But I like what no, sorry, my brain. I was gonna say you bring up the card initiative. I had a thought the other day. You know how the Magic 8 ball has a little D20 in it?
well, yeah, sometimes a D8, but yes,
Uh, I can't remember. I can't remember. It has a die in it that
yeah,
has the different outcomes that you roll
yes,
for. I wanted to create, or I want to have one of those dies, and it be a fate die at the table for specifically for like I really want to introduce it for when because I like allowing spellcasters to sometimes bend their spells, but they need to roll for it, and if they don't succeed the roll, the spell works as written.
yeah, same here. But
But
you want the
if
magic eight
you
ball that they
If
can
you have the
shake.
little 8-ball die and roll it, it's like outcome not so good. I like that
Oh.
idea of just rolling that and then basing that on if you want
Oh.
to alter magic, you roll the fate die. Or,
Ask again
anything.
later.
Ask again later, exactly. I really, really think that will be fun.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Getting it, it's basically a novelty D20 then. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it. I didn't get what you basically crack open a magic 8 ball, drink the juice. I mean, drink the juice, and then just steal the die.
Yeah.
We should could check. We should go and check at Signos if they've got magic 8 ball
That,
for us.
yeah. I really.
Or we could just buy a broken one, a busted one from a game shop or
Or
something.
we can do that, but I mean, like, we play a lot on fantasy grounds. We can just look up what the different terms
Oh, and
are
just
and then
create the
pop it
automated
into,
table.
and just pop it into a table.
Now I'm curious. Hang on, let me check. 8 ball response list. Here we go. It's a D8.
Oh, is
It's
it a
my
D8?
reply. My reply is no. Very doubtful. My sources say no affirmative statements. Most likely. Don't count on it. Outlook not so good. Yes, it's certain. Now I'm just quickly, since we're busy with it. I'm just quickly go to my fancy grounds, copy this list, and quickly do that. I mean, it's so simple to do. I'm doing this on our Dungeon DJs. So
Ah, cool, cool,
go
cool.
to tables, create import text. No, create add a table, and then we're quickly gonna put up a note page. Create a new note. So I've got my note on the left hand side, and my table on the right hand side. And then I'm gonna just pop this here. Coolio, I think. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Um, reply is no. Okay, well that's not that bad. I can just cut. My reply is no. Don't count on it.
This will be so amusing to
Yeah,
me.
I've just it's almost done. Just to quickly cut and paste the rest of the guys. Really, very doubtful. Then fourth is Outlook not so good. I like that one, especially for magic.
Yeah.
Um,
That might be you know what's nice about it is
it's open
it
ended.
you it's open ended, so it doesn't necessarily even have to be that a low roll is bad. Like on Outlook, not so good. You could say something happens that it usually doesn't happen.
So
I don't know.
the
This idea tickled me when I thought of it.
last three are uh just quickly 4, 4, 5. Oopsie, not 55. 5. Dear Lord. 5, 5, 6. The last three. So the last three entries on the Magic 8 pool uh are
Good
no
outcomes. Yeah.
statements.
Oh.
They mark them here as statements, whatever that might mean.
Oh,
8,
interesting.
8. No, that's 1, 2, 3. And this takes a D8, so I'm just going to drag a D8 into the spot here. Description, and then
It automatically, if you number them correctly, knows it's a D8.
oh,
Oh,
well,
but
either way.
yeah.
Ball, Magic 8 ball, Magic 8 ball. There we go. Let's quickly do that, and then lock this guy, and then here we go. Now, if I quickly just close up a whole bunch of stuff. Right, so I've got my table here. Oh, this is cool. Shaka, 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 roll.
It is certain.
Shaka, 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 roll. By
Very
the way,
doubtful.
with my Starfinder game, because we're playing for Fancy Grounds, and
Mm-hmm.
I bought the digital version of the crit tables, the crit
Mm.
deck. We're playing with the crit
Mm.
deck on the Fancy Grounds, and it's so much fun to just share that image to them, and then the players can like compare them and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, there's some deadly things there. Ah, that was so cool. But yeah, this is there's your Magic 8 Ball. Quick to do. Anyways, apologies. Let me get back to business.
Let's get down to business.
To look at your feet. I mean the feet.
Defeats.
Da feet. This is the wrong page. There we go. Okay, there's a lot of new feats here. This might take a moment, but yeah.
I found a different list to you. I'm on the Wikipedia page for Magic 8 Balls.
I just searched it and got the first
And
one.
a standard Magic 8 Ball has 20 possible answers
Nice.
on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, this is a Magic 8 Ball, so plenty
Yeah,
options.
I'm gonna probably do the version that has the all 20. It is
Or
certain, it is decidedly so, without a doubt, yes, definitely. You may rely on it, yes, as I see it. Most likely, outlook good, yes. Signs point to yes.
yeah, they are more
Reply
than
hazy, try again. Ask again later. Better not tell you now. Cannot predict now. Concentrate and ask again. I like that
yeah.
one.
It's
I like.
negative statements, affirmative statements, and non-committal statements.
Yeah, don't count on it. My reply is no. My sources say no. Outlook not so good. Very doubtful. Yeah, I like this. I don't know why.
Gonna make it. Okay, I'm just quickly gonna refresh my drink, and then
Cool,
let's hop
cool,
into feats.
cool, cool. 1 foot, many feet. 2 foot, duck feet. 3 foot, dwarf feet. But I'm going to level 18th level feature. What's this? Is this also thieves? 18th level feature. Stroke of luck. You have an uncanny knack for succeeding when you need to. If you fail a d20 test, oh, this is the 20th level feature that's been moved to 18th level, like they have done for all the classes in the newest UA. I do really hope that they either make it very explicit that high level play is now essentially epic level play, and that if you want to play at those levels, you need to be fighting gods and immortals, because the power creep otherwise is going to be weird, and the balancing of monsters is going to be an interesting thing to see. Because I do like the new monsters from Monsters of the Multiverse, but if you take some monsters were nerfed, in my personal opinion. Um, One in particular comes to mind, who I know was very powerful for his combos in terms of he had the ability to cast greater invisibility and project his voice. Titivilus, yeah, you might know a particular YouTuber who did a video about Titivilus and why he's so powerful. And the reason he's so powerful, at least according to that YouTuber, was removed from him in his reprint in Monsters of the Multiverse. A very interesting scenario indeed. Titivilus, Fiend. His legacy version allowed him the greater invisibility spell 3 times per day. His Monsters of the Multiverse version allowed him greater invisibility not at all. He got mislead 3 times per day. Overall, the design choices with the monsters of the multiverse monsters were to try and move away from giving them lots of spells, which makes them both easier, but you need to give them abilities they can use instead. Anyways, I really do hope that the monsters for the 1D&D are going to be well balanced and scale well. Ability score improvement feat, actor feat, athlete feat, charger feat, crossbow expert, defensive duelist. Do. Elemental Adept. Spellcasting or pack magic feature. Oh, okay. They've structured them differently. Given them bonus feats at 20th level. A DM can use bonus feats as a form of advancement after characters reach 20th level, a way to provide greater power to characters who have no more levels to gain. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to be right back myself. I also want to get a drink.
Right, I'm back.
I was about to leave myself and get a drink.
Well, go
Maybe
get a drink.
maybe that's good timing. You can entertain the people while I'm gone.
Well, I'll start reading with the feats. Where were you? Never mind, I guess. Let's quickly just go over some of the feats. See if anything pops out of me. Obviously, there's the parts of the feat, the level, the prerequisite, the repeatable, which is important. Bonus feat at 20th level. A DM can use bonus feat as a form of advancement after a character's level reach 20th level. A way to provide greater power to characters who have no more levels to gain. With this approach, each character gains no feat as their choice. Oh, one feat as their choice for every 30,000 XP the character earns above 355,000 XP. Epic boon feats are especially appropriate for these bonus feats, but players can choose any feat for which their 20th level character qualifies. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that means theoretically game can continue quite a number of levels past level 20, which is fun. Anyways, quickly refresh here. See what's cooking.
Alrighty.
That being
Feats.
said, yeah, did you read the part about the leveling up past level 20?
I did.
Yeah, that's really cool. I want to highlight that. Features and descriptions. Okay, that's fine. Um, feat description is fine. Ability score.
Okay, so the first one we have there is ability score improvement, which is considered a 4th level feat. Prerequisite, none. Repeatable, yes. Increase one ability score of your choice by 2, or increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1.
Like that.
Can't increase them above 20.
So actor we've had before, athlete that we've had before to an extent.
I want to quickly pull up something from the first one, the Character Origins UA.
Sure.
I'm going there to look at, because I think actor was printed in that version too, and I feel like it was a 1st level feat there. I'm just scrolling. They hear me scrolling. They hate
I'm basically just
it.
looking for any feats that seem new. Crossbow Expert or feats that I know out of use. Crossbow Expert is one that I've used quite a few times. Any martial weapon, repeatable? No. Thanks to your extensive practice with crossbows, you gain the following benefits. Ability score increase. Oh, what? Increase dexterity. Oh, that was there before. Maximum of increase your dexterity score by 1 to a maximum of 20. Ignore loading, which makes sense. Firing in melee. That makes sense. I was there before. Dual wielding. When using an extra attack of a light weapon property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the extra attack if the attack is with a crossbow that has the light property. I can't remember if that was in the old version.
That wasn't.
Yeah, that feels new.
It was implied, I think, because the loading property was removed. I'm not sure. What I can say is this makes Crossbow Expert as powerful as the gunner feat, because the gunner feat did very similarly to the Crossbow Expert feat, only you got an ability score improvement as well.
Interesting.
So I really like that they've included the fact that you get an ability score improvement to the expert feat, to the Crossbow Expert feat. Um,
Sorry, one of the people that joined our stream today is called Emma the Dilemma. That's such a cool name. Emma the Dilemma. Anyways, um, let's have a look at the dual wielder. Okay, dual wielder, soft resistance, quick draw. Interesting.
oh, athlete. Prerequisite strength, dexterity, or constitution 13. That's new.
Why does
Uh,
athlete not feel new to me?
it's not new. The prerequisite is new.
Oh,
Uh, you get an ability score increase to your strength, dexterity, or constitution.
you're
That's the
right. It
same.
is new. The prerequisites are
Uh,
new.
you get a climbing speed. That's the same. Hop up. When you are prone, you can right yourself with only 5 feet of movement. That's the same. Jumping, you have advantage on any ability check to make for the jump action. That's worded differently. You can
Wait,
make
is
a
this
running
now for
long jump.
athlete?
Yes,
Hop up wasn't part of athlete.
it was. It was just worded differently. Hop up is just you can stand up from prone using only 5 feet of movement, which was part
Oh,
of the
never
athlete
mind.
feat.
Apologies.
You can make a running long jump or a running high jump after moving only 5 feet rather than 10 feet. That's
Tell you what.
changed to you have
Tell you what.
advantage on a check
If
made.
the player tells me they want to do a long jump and they know and they like recite the exact words from memory, they can do jump as far as they goddamn like.
True, ne?
Yo. Anyways.
Mm,
Oh, they've now added the epic boon feats in here.
that I saw that. Yes,
Elemental Adept is now here. You're using that in one
yes,
of my games. Let's see if it
yeah.
matches up. So, fourth level feat, prerequisite, you need to be a spellcasting or pack magic feature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, repeatable, yes, but you must choose a different damage type each time for Energy Master, which makes
Well, it
sense.
just makes sense. Yeah,
But I mean, that was the same last as well. You have to choose it every time to get a different element.
yeah, element. What is
Um,
different is though you get an ability score increase with elemental adept. Oh, I like
But
it.
but what's cool is that the ASI, the small ASI, is way
Mm,
more prevalent this time around. I
it
mean,
is.
if I just search this ability score, I'm on page 17 now. Cool. Find ability score increase. That line comes up 29 times.
Yeah, almost all of them have it
Almost
now.
all of them. If I zoom out here on my screen now, we are here in the weeds of the we are now here in the weeds of the feats, and almost all of them have an ability score improvement, meaning that
That's really awesome
that
because that means
you're
that you can get
constantly advancing
yeah, you can get the effects of the feat without having to give up on
an
improving your
ASI.
ability scores. Yes.
Exactly. But now obviously that to choosing a feat then just narrows your ASI. It doesn't
Yeah.
remove it. That
Hmm.
is really cool. The epic boons obviously are
A
epic.
really cool
Let's choose
concept.
a random one and just see how horrifically bad it is. Epic boon of dimensional travel. Expert. You need to be an expert or a mage, and you need to be 20th level. Repeatable, no. You can
Makes
cast
sense.
the Misty Step spell without spending a spell slot. Once you used this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative or finish. What? Or finish the long short or long rest.
That's not that powerful.
Yeah, every time you roll initiative, it resets.
Yeah, true. That it's powerful, but it's not like some of them. Some of the epic boons. I know that there was an epic boon that essentially gave wizards, like if you gave it to a wizard would know all the spells just automatically. Like how a cleric just knows all their spells, but you would be a wizard with just you just know all the spells. That would be so powerful.
Check this out.
It,
Epic boon of Peerless Aim. If you make a range attack against the target in a range and miss, you can cause the target to hit instead. The attack to hit instead. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative.
that's pretty powerful.
So basically, once
Um,
per fight, you can't miss.
yep.
That's so cool.
Epic boon of the night spirit. While within dim light or darkness, you can become invisible as an action. You remain invisible until immediately after you take an action or a reaction. That would not be a good one to pick as a ranger, considering that new feat that new class feature that you got as a ranger to become
Of the
invisible.
night spirit, you say?
Yes, it's
Uh,
the second column, third from the top
There it is.
after offense and luck.
These epic boons are cool.
Epic Boon of Luck. Immediately after you roll a d20 for a d20 test, you can roll a d10 and add the number rolled to the test. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative or finish a short or long rest. Interesting. This concept of resetting things on initiative has only really been explored in one other feat, and I think that it was specific to halflings. What was it called?
I've not really ever encountered it, now that I can recall. Epic Boon of Skill Proficiency. You gain proficiency in all skills. Period.
Oh, that is nuts.
That's so cool. Prerequisite, none. Repeatable, no. 20th level.
You can just be proficient in all the skills.
I need to share this on our class group. This is gold. DM alt 4. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. That's how you have a bad time. Christ. Let's see what else is there. Archery. Plus 2 to... Oh, but this is not epic, it's just archery. Epic Boon of the Unfettered. You need to be an expert or a warrior group. Hey, we've got the name of the... okay, obviously we do. As a bonus action, you can take this disengage action. Cool. Which also ends the grapple and restraint conditions on you. Oh, so as a bonus action, you just wobble away, and this doesn't recharge. This just is.
I've grappled him. No, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
Zoop.
I
become a liquid. I become a cat.
Cats are liquid. Go. Archery is just plus 2 to attack rolls.
These are fighting styles, not.
Oh, fighting styles. Oh.
Yeah.
Archery defense, but aren't they feats as well?
Fighting style.
Because they're in the feat. They're listed here as feats. It's a level 1 feat.
They are. Oh wow! You can then pick them as feats as well.
Yeah.
Which means that, but for example, like the ranger can pick a fighting style, which means essentially you can pick one.
Can't. The ranger.
Yes, it can.
Fighting style here is only for the warrior group.
Okay, well then I'll go read the ranger specific ability that allows you to pick it.
Cool. Yeah.
It might then include legalese that says that you can pick it even if it
fighting style
isn't. Here we are, second level feature, fighting style. You have honed your martial prowess. You gain one of the following fighting style feats of your choice: archery, defense, or two-weapon fighting.
Cool. Never mind.
But that is cool. They've now moved fighting styles to feats. Previously, you could only get them if you got the fighting style warrior class feature. Mm-hmm.
But it's nice. It's nice that they removed. They kind of see. This is where I kind of like felt they're making the classes a bit more generic, but then you get the nuance in the feats, which is nice. Great weapon fighting, protection. All of this is the standard stuff. I can't see anything here. I'm not gonna dig too deeply into those. What's this? Great weapon mastery. Inspiring leader, 4th level feat. This seems like it's an old one.
It is.
Keen mind is the increase in intelligence at least of 13 or plus. Increase your
I do like
score.
that some of them have prerequisites. I really do.
Yeah, me too. It's always been better to have that. Lore, knowledge, choose one of the following skills. Arcana, history, investigation, nation, region. Okay, this is just like a good skill tank. Lightly armored, mage slayer is still here. Okay, repeatable, no. Proficiency of any martial weapon, interesting. Concentration breaker, yeah, but that's always been there. Okay, medium armor master, mounted combat. You know what should be here under mounted combat? As a prerequisite, you should also be proficient in at least one land vehicle.
Uh,
Or worse.
Probably. It
No,
would
I'm
just make
joking.
sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of see how I would also leave it out. Observant is useful for intelligence and wisdom. Quickly notice details. You gain the following benefits. I really like the way they've uniformed the structure of the feats. It's
Yeah,
not just a massive block of text and you need to kind of interpret it yourself.
yeah,
They tell you, they break it up into 2 to 3 things. Say, bam, bam, bam.
yep.
You know? Polar Master is still there. Resilient. Just gonna quickly check here. Polar Master. Even Polar Master, dude, gives you an increase in your ASI.
Yep.
So cool. I really like that change.
Pole strike immediately after you take the attack action and take an attack with a weapon that has the heavy and reach properties. You can use a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end of the weapon. The weapon's damage die for this attack is a d4. I just want to read something about the Polearm Master
Sure.
filter feats because I think it used to. I know that Polearm Master has actually been errated um, once before in a way that made people very happy. Yes, so this thing of saying a weapon that has the heavy and reach properties is a very good piece of change because it used to be a specific list, whether you are wielding a glaive, halberd, pike, quarterstaff, or spear.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, glaive, halberd, quarterstaff, or spear. Yeah, so it used to be specific weapons that you could make this extra attack with and the reactive strike with. And now it's just any weapon that has the heavy and reach properties. That's a very nice, clever distinction. Well, I wouldn't say clever. It's just a clearer, better wording instead of very specific weapons. The heavy and reach weapons. It makes sense. They're pole arms. What now?
Sorry, it's on our club group. Uh,
Oh.
I shared the epic boon of skill proficiency,
Uh huh.
and James responds with, taking this feat makes the DM auto-target you with the Mordekainen's shovel twice. Basically, Gygax buries you 6 feet under. That's very vindictive.
It is 20th level.
Yeah, it's not like you're just gonna have it.
Yep.
Mordekainen's shovel. Anyways, sharpshooter's kind of there. Ritual caster's still there. Nothing too strange.
Sentinel, ability score improvement, Guardian. Immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you takes the disengage action or hits a target other than you with an attack, you can make an opportunity attack against that creature and halt. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the
Oh,
turn.
Skulker has been buffed.
Skulker.
Skulker
Skulker,
usually
Skulker,
used to
Skulker.
be very straightforward. Basically,
Yep.
if you're hidden and you shoot and you miss, you remain hidden.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's an ASI for
Yeah.
dexterity.
Yeah.
Blind sight. You have blind sight within 10 feet.
Oh, that's nice. That's very
Fog
nice.
of War. Exploit distraction in battles, and that's the thing about um, exploiting the distractions of battle. You have advantage on any dexterity check you make as part of a hide action during combat. And then sniper, if you make an attack roll while hidden and roll a miss, you still don't end the hidden condition. But yeah, the blind sight edition is really really cool.
It is very, very cool. I'm just trying to understand. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks you make as part of the hide action during combat. Oh, okay. So you just have advantage on hiding in
Yeah, while it's
combat.
in combat, you just slip around a corner a little bit more simply. Um,
Speedster
Speedster.
is a
That's
new feat.
new. You
Yeah.
possess an exceptional speed and stamina. I almost read you possess an exceptional speed for drama, but anyway. My dyslexia is
You
kicking in a
go,
bit.
girl.
I've been in the sun all day, so my aphasia is kicking in. Apologies. You possess exceptional speed and stamina, granting you the following benefits: ability or improvement of
I
dexterity
wonder
or
if.
constitution, speed increase. Your speed increases by 10. Great.
Uh
While you
huh.
aren't wearing heavy armor. Okay, then dash over
Ah.
difficult terrain. You can take the dash action on your turn. Difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement. That's a
Okay,
nice
so
one.
this is a recreation of mobile.
That's true.
So it, while the ASI has been added, the caveat of heavy armor to the speed increase has been added as well. It used to
Mm,
be just a flat increase of 10 feet,
yeah.
and when you dash, difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra. Um,
Yeah, the addition of
and
the armor thing is a good idea.
when you make a melee attack against the creature, you don't provoke it. That's also been removed. Used to be if you make a melee attack against the creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn.
Mm.
So
Yeah, but
I
this
don't know.
is.
Speedster versus mobile. I do like the ASI.
I do like the term mobile more than speedster.
I agree there.
Spell Sniper, 4th level feat, Spellcaster or Pack Magic feature, repeatable no. You have learned techniques to enhance your attacks. With certain kinds of spells, gaining the following benefits: ability score improvement of Intel, Wisdom, or Charisma. Fair enough. Um, bypass cover makes sense. Ignore half and three quarters cover. Casting in melee, you don't have disadvantage on ranged attack rolls. Spells increased the range. When you cast a spell that has a range of at least 10 feet and requires you to make an attack roll, you can increase the spell's range by 60 feet. Simple. Yeah, that's nothing. Again, the ASI is the
I
biggest
so
addition here.
I yeah, the ASI is a nice addition to just in general have at
Mm.
the feats. But here the big difference between the original and the new one, other than the
It's
ASI,
the
is
range.
casting in melee. No.
Oh.
Spell Sniper always gave you the range, but it also gave you a cantrip of your choice, basically, from any spell list.
Oh, yeah.
Now instead, casting
This.
in melee doesn't impose disadvantage if you are within 5 feet of a creature. The way Crossbow Expert works, Spell Sniper works the same. Obviously, it's not, but yeah, for the disadvantage when you're within short range. I wonder. I need to go. I'm gonna go back and just read Crossbow Expert again because it used to be that range disadvantage, being within 5 feet of an enemy, doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls with crossbows. That's changed. It used to be if you took Crossbow Expert, the way it was worded, and it was sort of it was sage advice, sort of said that Crossbow Expert and by extension Gunner meant that the feature of being in short range no longer posed disadvantage if you took those feats, even if it was a spell you're casting. Now you have to take Spell Sniper if you want to have no disadvantage on short range with spells. That's interesting.
That's only for short range spells that are ranged attacks, not
Yes,
touch
true.
attacks.
Yes.
Interesting.
No,
Okay,
it
cool.
was just a nice. It was just a nice thing about taking crossbow or gunner is that your spells also then no longer impose a disadvantage at short range.
By the way, we've reached 31 followers.
That's so cool.
Anyways, back to Warcaster. So, Warcaster 4th level, again ASI, same thing as before, concentration, advantage, reactive spell. When a creature provokes an attack of opportunity, you can react to casting a spell at the creature. Yeah, this seems normal. This doesn't seem. Oh, somatic components. You can perform somatic components spells even when you have weapons and shield, but this also feels like the old one. I don't think they changed this Warcaster that much.
Yeah, okay, that's the same. Concentration, advantage, reactive. Yeah, you can attack
Or
moving
what
out
do
of
you
your
say?
reach. Yeah, they just added an ASI as far as I can tell.
Sweet. Weapon training is kind of cool. Gives you weapon training, but it also gives you ASI, which but specifically
Mm,
for strength for dexterity only.
yeah, but that used to Weapon Master was a feat as well.
Mm.
It's not the ASI. Oh no, it had an ASI. Increase your strength
Hmm.
or dexterity, and you gain proficiency with a weapon of your choice.
So that's pretty
Gain
much it.
martial. Oh no, this one I do like. I like weapon training more. Instead of a specific weapon that you gain proficiency with, you just gain proficiency with martial weapons. That is definitely makes weapon training worth taking for less martially
Oh, yeah.
proficient
That just
characters.
means that any martial weapon you're not proficient in, basically. At least you can
Yes,
pick up and not kill yourself.
I've almost never seen anyone take Weapon Master because you only ever picked one weapon you became proficient with, which was kind of
It
like,
feels a bit of like a waste for entire
yeah,
level up.
yeah.
And then we just go basically over to spell slots, but currently there's not really much we can do here. There's a lot of pages then now here with just spell lists. And these
Yeah,
spell
spell
lists
lists.
are not being changed right now because they're the
Well, I
same as
mean,
the
this
base.
is the entire Arcane, Divine, and Primal spell lists now actually
True.
listed out.
But yeah, they're listed, but what I'm trying to say is that the actual individual spells aren't being updated here. So there is an asterisk there. It says here
Yeah,
that if the school's magic is different from what appears in the player's handbook, oh, so they've changed some of the schools. Dancing light is now illusion.
that makes sense.
What else? Thunderwave is now transmutation. Blindness deafness is transmutation.
Interesting.
Flaming sphere is now evocation. Thank fuck. That should be. What was
Yeah,
it?
no, it was a conjuration, and I'm trying
What?
to think. Blindness, deafness was a necromancy, I think. And
Really?
the dancing lights, was that really not an illusion spell? That's the one that's catching me off guard.
I'm getting them.
Was it?
Da-
I think it was an evocation
Dancing light was
because you would
was
evoke
yeah, it was
them.
evocation.
Yeah, but
And
it's
blindness
an
deafness was necromancy.
yes, that one I knew.
So dancing lights was evocation.
Yeah, okay, but it just makes sense as an illusion.
Yeah, I do
I'd
agree.
never question. I'd never questioned it until
Shatter
now.
is now transmutation, which makes sense since you break a physical bit of silica to make it happen, like a bit of glass. Um, Sending is now divination.
Sending
That
that
makes
does make
sense.
sense.
Yeah. Stone skin makes transmutation. That makes sense. I think that was abjuration.
Yeah, that was abjuration.
Um, Contingency is now abjuration, which kind of
Contingency, contingency. I think was. I can't
contingency
remember
was
what it was.
evocation
It was evocation. Yeah, it makes more sense
as
as an
abjuration,
abjuration. Yes.
defensive. Yeah. Glibness is now enchantment. It wasn't.
Glibness.
Glibness
I encounter
was
glibness so
transmutation.
rarely.
Oh wow. Yeah, that makes way more sense as enchantment.
It does.
I like these changes. They make sense.
Yeah, but it
Telepathy.
makes you question why the
What? Why it hasn't been errated already?
yeah.
Telepathy is now also divination, which makes sense again. Healing word is abjuration. Oh, that is a cool change.
Divine spells.
That is a
Where
cool change because now it's not just divine. It's protection magic. You know, our entire fight that you should actually be able to have a wizard that does specialize in healing without outright following a god.
yeah, but aren't you on the divine spells now?
Oh, you're probably right. I hate myself a little bit right now. Yeah, I am. Nah, go screw a duck. Anyway, blindness,
Yeah,
netus,
okay, there it
transmutation,
is. Okay, so
transmutation,
cure
blindness,
wounds is
deafness.
now an abjuration. Healing is now considered abjuration.
Mm,
That's that kind of
eases my
just makes
mind.
sense. That just kind of makes sense. It was always evocation.
Produce flame is now evocation, which makes sense.
Yeah, again, these things are like, why weren't they that way?
Flaming sphere, yeah, okay, we're getting repeats now.
Yeah.
Earthquake is transmutation.
Hallow is an
Reincarnate
abjuration.
is now necromancy.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Stone skin is transmutation. Okay, basically these all make sense. I completely agree. That's so cool. And obviously, power word heal is now abjuration.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Sweet. So now we're at the rules glossary. So the DCs here are pretty much the same: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Ability checks. Oh, there's a rules glossary here for ability checks now. Okay. Nothing here has really changed. Skills, actions required, difficulty class, beat it to beat it, nothing weird. Armor training. Armor training is the new name for armor proficiency. Fair enough. Any existing rule that involves armor proficiency now applies armor training. Okay. If you wear light, medium, or heavy armor, and lack armor training with the type of armor, you have disadvantage and on any
Any
D20 test
D20 test
you make that involves
that
strength
involves
or
strength or
dexterity.
dex.
So your attack rolls will immediately, or your ranged attack rolls will immediately be affected because the
I am
test.
wondering if that isn't actually the same as it is now. It's just worded
Yeah,
differently.
obviously no, probably it is. Anyway, artisan tools, same thing here, nothing weird here. Okay, here we go. These these brackets that say action, I'm really gonna focus on these. Attack makes sense. So with an attack action, you can moving between attacks is the same as before. If you move on your turn, you can use some or all of your movement to move between the attacks of this action. If you have a feature such as extra attack, that gives you more than one attack as part of the action. Oh, that means if you offhand attack, you can't move attack and then move offhand and then offhand attack.
I was looking somewhere else. I'll have to read. If you move on your turn, you can use some or all of that movement to move between the attacks. Attack that gives you more than one attack as a part of the attack action.
Hmm.
Okay.
Because a bonus attack by definition is bonus. It's not an attack action. Not base. So a bonus attack with an offhand attack would be an offhand attack. You're going to have to do it at the same target, or at least in the same vicinity. You won't be able to move. At least rules is written. I'm inferring now, but that's one of the erratas we'll have to like question. But I don't mind either way. It's just something that I see. Anyway, attack roll. The attack roll is it's a D20 test. Uh, that's perfect. Um,
Well, I mean, the equipping weapons is under the attack is for me also
equipping.
a nice clarification. You can equip or unequip one weapon before or after any attack you make as part of this action, even if the attack is with an unarmed
Well,
strike.
I like this because now it's at least codified.
Yes, that's why I say I like
I
the
still kind of
clarification.
prefer in fifth edition. I've always never really worried about it, but I really kind of prefer having. Personally, I really kind of like the Starfinder. A move action is to swap weapons.
Yeah.
Anyway, arcane spells and arcane spell draws and ambient magic. Okay, and ambient magic of the multiverse. I like that. They're stepping away from the weave. Um, bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards harness this magic. So do artificers. For the particular, okay, cool. So they just define that, and then bark. Why is bark skin here as a spell defined? That means they changed the wording of it.
Probably.
The target gains the number of temporary hit points equal to the spellcasting ability modifier plus a proficiency bonus. Huh? Bonus action, touch, handful of bark, concentration up to 1 hour. It's a primal spell. Yeah, I don't really. Sounds about right. Anyway,
I would have to go look it up, and I'm
yeah.
looking at other things now.
What are you looking at? What's keeping you busy?
I don't know. Something about the moving between attacks is nagging at my brain, and it's probably
Why?
just because I can't. It's just because no, I can't pinpoint why. That's why I'm trying. The reason that it's nagging me is why it's nagging me.
Well, let's look at
um,
it real quick. So if we go to base rules and reference manual, and we go to introduction, basic monsters and magic. Okay, that's players. Here we go. Reference manual.
yeah, okay, no, I got it. I got it now. I don't know why it feels like it's worded unnecessarily complex, in my opinion. I, I don't know why. Why can't you just say there you can move between attack actions? That's what it comes down to. You can move between attack actions.
The reason I think is because it depends on what an offhand attack counts as.
I agree with you there. It probably does. Um, but until I know that, I feel like it's very complex way to word it at the moment.
Not that
Until we
much.
know what an attack a bonus action is.
Hit attack,
But yeah,
damage rolls. I just want to quick, yeah, mounting combat, movement and positioning, breaking up your move. moving between attacks. If you take an action that includes more than one weapon attack, you can break up your movement even further by moving between those attacks. For
Mm.
example, a weapon can. This is the old rules now. For
Mm.
example, when you make two attacks, when you make two attacks with the extra attack feature,
Mm.
that's an example. This is just an example. You
Mm.
and who has a speed of 24 feet, you can move 20 feet, make an attack, move 15 feet, and make an attack again. Two attacks with an extra attack feature. Okay, using different speeds. And now, just to quickly make an attack, the current base 5th edition rules.
Mm.
Cost and style, attack, making attack, damage and healing, disengage, uh, action making an attack, actions in combat, attack, making an attack. Here we go. Attack rolls. Unseen attackers, range attacks, melee attacks, opportunity attacks, two weapon fighting, grappling, two weapon fighting. When you take an attack action and attack with a light weapon you're holding in one hand, you can use a bonus action to attack with a different light melee weapon that you're holding in the other hand. You don't add your ability modifier to the damage or the bonus unless the modifier is negative. If either weapon is thrown properly, yeah, then in that case it probably doesn't matter. But yes, I agree with you. It feels a bit convoluted. It can probably use a bit of shaving, but I don't mind. This is a lot. Even though it feels convoluted, it does the same work as the other one in less words.
True, but is there room for misinterpretation if I say you can move between attack actions, or you can use your movement between attack actions if you have
I'm
movement
over
left?
analyzing now, but for me personally, the only thing that comes up is it depends on what a bonus action counts as.
It-
You know, a bonus action attack.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, fair, fair, fair. Is
Because
we
because
are, we are, we.
that's really
I'm
nitpicking semantics there, but that's why I
yeah.
mentioned it immediately. It's just likely
So for
the
me,
gap.
I think the reason I got caught on it, why it snagged, is because I felt there was some deeper meaning to why they worded it the way they worded it, and I couldn't figure out what that deeper meaning was. Um,
It depends on
but
what they
I've
classify
I've
bonus
moved
attacks
on.
as.
I've moved on.
What do you
Yeah. No,
just
I
move
was
on while I'm trying to solve your brain conundrum?
my brain conundrum was essentially me just going, you worded this funny.
No, I know, but then I don't have your attention. Then I try and solve your problem, and then your attention moves on anyway. Anyways, um,
No, sorry. All right, fair.
um, what's his face? So I always 9 steps in a different direction. Where was I? Attack. I'm just curious if bonus attack is then actually listed here. Help
Help
action,
action.
hide action, incapacitate us and condition, influence, invisible condition, mm, jump action, light weapon, proficiency, long rest, magic, move. Okay, here's move again. Here's breaking up your movement is not listed here again. You can break up your move using some of its move before and after any action you take. There we go. On the same turn. So it's not before you could be between attack actions. It's now between any action. Period.
Mm.
For example, you can make 30 feet. Okay, cool. In that case, moot point again. But then I like that they've clarified it here. Although, um, what's his face? This double speak, having this paragraph referencing roughly the same thing you and I just discussed,
Mm.
and a little bit before that having the same thing seemingly codified as well,
Mm.
is the same problem I have with some of the Paizo books.
Mm.
They're moving between attack and then have this is already flagged as an action. Don't include this section.
Mm.
Just leave that under movement.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because I the movement section's description of moving between attacks is better worded in my opinion too.
Yeah, it's better worded. It gives the flag, it gives the action, and off you go. Oh, sorry guys, I now scrolled completely into oblivion. Attack. There we go. I want to just quickly mark
Speed of
this.
0.
What about speed
If
of
an
0?
effect zeroes your speed for a time, any special speed you have is also zeroed for the same duration. For example, if you have a speed of if you have a speed and a climb speed, both speeds are zeroed if you're subjected to the grapple condition. That's a nice clarification. I don't know if it was included. Study action, but you like the study action, right?
I want to read it. Well, let's quickly have
Yes.
a look at this. Hide action. Where's the study action? It's at the bottom, isn't it?
Uh, it's second last page. Yes,
Study
that's where it
action.
starts.
When you take a study action, you can make an intelligence check to study your memory, a book, a creature, a clue, an object, or another source of knowledge, and and call to mind an important piece of information about it. The areas of knowledge table suggests which skills are applicable when you take this action, depending on the area of knowledge the intelligence check is about. Okay, so there's arcane, history, investigation, nature, and religion.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like arcane is obviously spells, magic item, eldritch symbols, magic traditions. Yeah, we've always used it like that. History is
Yep.
for historic event, ancient civilizations, wars, certain creatures. Yes, I use this as well. Um, investigation, traps, ciphers, riddles, gadgetry. I like that this is laid out in this way. It kind of was explained this way previously, but it's
Yeah,
useful.
well, I mean, this codifies it as an action, so you could technically take it in combat if you needed to.
Exactly. That's why I kind of think it excites me. Yeah, this is nice. I like. It says here that certain creatures, you know, but what's missing here now, right,
Mm.
is how much does the DM tell you? Because the thing is,
Mm.
if you do a history check on a creature, do you just keep giving superficial information, or do you have the chance to? Do you know what I like about the Starfinder way of doing it is that for every 5 you beat the DC of the roll, and that's why the DC is so clearly defined for those specific checks, for
Mm.
creature checks, um, which isn't that hard to understand. It's basically 10 plus the creature CR. I think it's the basic. That's it. um,
Mm.
so for every 5 you beat that by, you get more information out of it, and
Mm.
and usually we just start with like resistances and weaknesses, stuff like that. But anyways, swim speed is swim speed, teleportation.
The search action has also been codified.
What's it now?
Well, it's similar to the study action, it's just above study as well. Uh, uh, just a little bit above study. When you take the search action, you make a wisdom check to discern something that isn't obvious. The search table suggests which skills are applicable when you take this action, depending on what you're trying to detect. Skill, insight, creature's state of mind, medicine, creature's ailment, perception, concealed creature or object, survival, tracks, or food.
Yeah, it's again, this is stuff that was like explained in the full book, but having it as a straightforward table just makes it a lot
It is
simpler.
nice, yes.
I like how they're essentially going. Okay, cool. Our player base isn't. Our player base. Does not consist of complete idiots. Let's just give them combusted axioms instead of just
Yeah,
explaining everything in 9 pages.
yeah.
Special speeds. Okay, that makes sense. Climbing speed, ritual casting.
Oh, attitude
Huh?
has a section. I don't know if it's
What?
changed because I don't have.
Are you giving
I
me
know
attitude?
atti-
What are you
I know
talking
that
about?
I know that attitude was in fifth edition. I've never really used it all that much.
Oh, influence and attitude. Okay, yes, I kind of use it. I'm gonna be honest. I actively use it a lot in Starfinder because it's very well codified there.
Mm.
Um, but it's nice it's still here, and
With
it's
the
an
influence action, you can try to influence another creature to
ah
do something you request or demand. This action can be used only on a creature controlled by the DM, and it isn't mind control. It can't force a creature to do something that is counter to the creature's alignment or that is otherwise repugnant to the creature. This action has three main parts: attitude, interaction, and charisma check. Attitude. A creature's attitude is determines how a character can influence that creature. Each DM controlled creature has one of the following attitudes towards the player characters: indifferent. This is the default attitude for DM-controlled creatures. An indifferent creature might help or hinder the party depending on what the creature sees as most beneficial. A creature's indifference doesn't necessarily make it stand offish or disinterested. Indifferent creatures might be polite and genial, surly and irritable, or anything in between. A successful charisma check is often necessary when the adventurers try to persuade an indifferent creature to do something. Friendly. A friendly creature wants to help the adventurers and wishes for them to succeed for tasks or actions that require no particular risk, effort, or cost. Friendly creatures often help happily. If an
Mm.
element of personal risk is involved, a successful charisma check might be required to convince a friendly creature to take that risk.
Yeah.
Hostile. A hostile creature opposes the adventurers and their
Yeah.
goals, but doesn't necessarily attack them on sight. The adventurers need to succeed on one or more challenging charisma checks to convince a hostile creature to do. Uh, sorry, I lost my spot now.
Apologies.
Determine that the hostile creature is so ill-disposed. A hostile creature to do anything on the party's behalf. However, the DM might determine that the hostile creature is so ill-disposed towards the character that no charisma check can sway it, in which case the first check fails automatically and no further influence attempts can be made on the creature unless its attitude shifts.
Yeah.
Interaction.
This
When
this
you
is this is very similar to Starfinder's way of doing it,
when
because
you take
Starfinder
the
has extra tables.
influence action, either roleplay how your character interacts with the creature or describe your character's behavior, focusing on your character's request or demand. If the interaction is especially suited to the creature's desires and outlook, the DM might grant advantage on your subsequent check or might temporarily shift a hostile creature to indifferent or an indifferent creature to friendly. Similarly, if the interaction is particularly irksome to the creature, the DM might impose disadvantage on your subsequent check or might temporarily shift a friendly creature to indifferent or indifferent creature to hostile. Ability check. To determine whether your request or demand is successful, you make. I've driven everyone away. We're down to just 3 viewers.
Yeah, everyone's gone. It's you, but you're speaking a charisma check. The if
Yeah.
you haven't, carry on, carry on. You were busy.
Well, I'm going to skip the description of the ability check and go straight
The
to the little table they do have here.
Which is kind of cool,
Influence
but this
responses.
is basically the same as the existing rules.
Is it?
Yeah, let me just quickly check on screen. So if I go this feels very, very, very similar. Between adventures, running the game, it's under running the game, and then it's under social interaction. And there are the here are the three tables in the base book. In the new one, there's in the original table there was DC 0, DC 10, and DC 20.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, 0 is implied, and they explain that already in the base description of friendly, hostile, and indifferent. So they just
Ah.
remove those, but the rest are the same. So
Hmm.
influence responses for indifferent at DC 10 um, is the creature does as asked as long as no risk or sacrifice are involved.
Hmm.
No, it's exactly the same. They've just reworded and recombobulated it a bit.
Hmm.
But it's nice that this is now here. I hope this like brings it to the foreground for a lot of people. Because it's look, I don't believe it's
Magic is an action.
what?
When you take the magic action, you can cast a spell that has a casting time of an action or use a magic item that requires an action to be activated.
Oh, nice.
If you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 minute or longer, you must take the magic action on each turn of that casting, and you must maintain concentration while you do so. If your concentration is broken,
What?
the spell fails, but you don't
That's so
expend a spell
cool.
slot. That is very cool.
That's interesting.
I do now really, really want them to define a bonus action, though.
Yes. Also, I'm curious to see if they take a
Hmm.
similar stance to Pathfinder Second Edition, and instead of giving you a bonus action, just give you more than one action.
Interesting.
Right?
Very interesting.
But
But
they have used the words bonus action quite a lot, so
they have, yes. No, the rogue still has a cunning action which allows them to dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action. So I don't think
oh.
that's going to happen. At least not with the current UA.
Yeah, casting time for box skin is also a bonus action. But hang on, that's a spell. How could
Yeah, that's why I said I really want them to
to
define what a bonus action is then.
because does that just mean I don't use the action is moot and it's essentially a free action then? I've got a headache. this
You
this
see why
this
that one little hiccup was like, but there must be more meaning to this. Where is the meaning?
long rest. Holy shit.
Oh, they apparently changed criticals again. Where is it? I don't see them.
Critical tests.
Uh, I don't know. Did you see something called critical tests?
I'm checking it now. They've errata tremor sense.
Oh, how's it work now?
I don't know. I just saw it's here, so it's obviously been errated.
Oh, okay.
It they've added the paragraph here. It says tremor sense can't detect creature or objects in the air,
That makes sense.
and they say your tremor sense doesn't count as a form of sight.
Oh, interesting. No, well, that also technically makes sense. It's a sense. It's tremor sense.
Mm. But so sight is a sense.
Yes.
Awesome.
It just means that tremor sense isn't affected by
You
blindness.
say they've changed.
I wonder then I saw blind sight as well and I thought, oh, they probably just included it for clarification. But I want to read here now. If you have blind sight, you can effectively see within a specific range without relying on physical sight. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Okay,
Oh,
so
here we
they.
go. Attack
Mm,
rolls. The attack roll, here it is. The attack roll is one of the three types of D20 tests. The Unearthed Arcana article uses the rules for the attack rolls and critical hits found in the 2020. Oh, they reverted.
yes.
That's basically what I say here. They've removed the critical hit rolls. Apparently, no one
Yeah.
liked that.
In the interview, Jeremy Crawford mentioned that they returned to the original sort of version of critical hits,
For
but it
now.
wasn't in response to the feedback.
Oh.
They haven't actually reviewed the feedback yet because there's the polls, so to speak, was still open when the interview was being conducted.
Ah.
And the 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 first sort of responses to the feedback are yet to come.
All in all, though, great addition. Again, shows love, care, shows hard work,
Yep.
shows great three classes. Obviously, not of all the subclasses, and honestly, the subclasses will make the classes shine.
Yeah.
And obviously, that is future content. You know that now
Yeah.
the framework is there. Now you can keep building subclasses, which has always been the case.
Mm,
Also, leaning so heavily into feats and keep adding to the feats. Oh, I love it. It means
I
that
love it too.
you can go an expert ranger with the same stats, but still have different characters, even
Yep.
if you play the same subclass.
Yep.
Now it's good. Good stuff. Approved. I've got very minor complaints here, and I'll wait for the form to come out. I kind of want to.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time in the coming weeks, but I wouldn't mind playtesting a little bit of this. But I.
I also wouldn't mind playtesting. I want to wait until more classes are out. Like maybe just a class from each major group,
Yeah.
just so that I can have a party of all new classes because I do feel that these are balanced differently.
Yeah, they are.
Um, and so I want to wait until there's at least enough classes to play a class from each major group, and then I might seriously consider running a play test of the new material.
December will be great for us to run a whole bunch of one shots and really get our feel for this.
Mm.
So yeah. But yes. thank you for your time, Dylan.
It's a
Uh,
pleasure.
we can jump into. I'm glad I got together with you tonight. Last week I was at Comic Con, so I couldn't join in. Um, but so be it. No, one out. Go away. Let's just pop over to my OBS. Hold with voice. I think that's what I'm looking for. Zoom. There we go. But yeah, no, I. What do you think in general about this version of the
I
Artificer
am
Arcana?
very, I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on why. It feels to me like that the classes are more powerful, but overall the design elements and changes
You're
come
right.
from a place of experience of uh,
It
uh
feels like it feels like it's almost like someone it's like there's a mural on a wall, and we're
mm,
seeing the bright strokes of a corner of it, and we're comparing the
mm,
bright strokes with something that the old stuff. So
mm,
in comparison, yeah, you're getting more powerful abilities early, but that
mm,
sentence only makes sense if you continue to compare it to current fifth edition.
yep,
So the moment you start seeing the rest of the stuff, as you said, like monsters and other classes
yep,
and some more of the rules, it'll start to homogenize, and
yep,
monsters will like look, if the players are getting boosts, that means that likely we'll get more interesting and multivariate, like a level one monster with more clever abilities
yep.
to play with.
Oh, that's actually not a bad thought. Leveled monsters.
Yeah, so imagine now essentially that you've got I
Like
would
you've
like
got a
personally.
level one kobold, and then it's instead of having like a fancy kobold dragon shield. I mean, you can still have that, but just like I, kn- I know I'm not saying that I can go on a long rant about it, but I like the idea of just essentially you can get a range of monsters that scale. It's the
So
same monster, just
something I would like,
at
right,
higher levels.
is
Anyways.
I would like an advanced monster manual, right,
Mm.
where the monsters themselves are a little bit modular. For example, that they
Mm.
give you a kobold and they tell you this kobold is level one,
Mm.
right, and counts as what's the base version here? One moment, I'm just gonna talk in circles for a second. Is counts as expert,
Yeah.
meaning that you can't like level him up as a class, but because you've now given him a group, and
Mm.
because he's counting as level one, they can say, cool, he's got one empty feat slot, and
Ah,
then
yes.
now you can build feats into your monsters, right?
Yes. No, I
So
do I do like the idea of modular monsters. That will be cool.
and it doesn't have to be massively complex, but
Mm.
that's what I'm saying. This needs to be advanced monster guide. Then you can have something like a high level, let's say a high level vampire, right? But instead
Mm.
of going, everyone go, oh, it's a vampire. I know exactly what to expect. Now you've got a high level
Yeah.
vampire, but in the advanced monster manual, they give you the stat block and say, here's the default one. But if you want to just build your own flavor, it also counts as, and it's like one sentence. It counts as, for example, a level one mage and a level two expert for feats.
Ah,
If you
yeah.
see what I mean, and then
Yeah.
you can just plug in feats in its empty plug slots, and
Mm.
throw out its existing abilities and then just plug in your feats. And the
Or
nice thing about
monster
that is,
abilities.
oh yeah, monster feats, yeah,
I like that. I like that concept a lot.
giving
I mean, there's
giving
no
the
reason we
monsters,
can't do it as currently
yeah,
already in fifth edition,
give the
but
monster
codifying it will make it nice and
ha-
smooth.
have the players have expert mage, priest, and warrior, then have the monsters have things like uh, I don't know, vagabond, trash panda groups.
Trash panda.
Trash panda groups would be things like
Mob. He's a
Zwart,
mob.
yeah,
You can take
mob
one of the
groups.
mob feats.
Yes, and one of the mob feats, and that'll be like kobolds, gnolls, um,
Ah, and then it can be like pack tactics and stuff. I don't
or
know.
beast. It counts as a beast group, and then there's a whole
Yes,
bunch of
that is
beast stuff.
so cool.
So now you've got beasts, and you can like, oh, this is like a hook, not a hooked horror, but for example, a saber tooth. But he's
Huh.
got the pull to the ground feet from the wolves, which makes sense.
Mm.
Why wouldn't he be able to do it as well? Um, But yeah, now you've got, you can kind of build your own monsters on the fly, if you're doing prep work. But as again, this would be the book can come with all the default examples, but then with the rules on how to say how to unplug and replug. So I like that because I still like the lower level monsters with cool abilities. But anyway, we've driven away anyway all our lookers. Have a wonderful evening, Dylan.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.